14 of them were Arabs. Go figure. Like, it's only 20% of the population in Israel that is Arab. So how do we get to 50% of Iranian missiles killed Arab, or rather 50% of the deaths caused by Iranian missiles killed Arabs? It's really simple, because Allah prefers the Jews.
Random.
Allah protects the Jews. It's not random. It's more than 2 standard deviations in terms of probability. Not random.
It's possible.
It is God's hands. Thank you very much. Yeah, so it is God's hands. Given Israel particular Jews, they're choosing to kill the Arabs at the hands of the Muslim missiles. Can I get a hallelujah? I held it like, oh my God, Jeff's speaking my language.
I love you, Jeff. You are the chosen people. You're God's chosen.
Oh my God, I heard that voice once before. And you know what it said to me, Nels?
No, what did you?
No.
Harder.
No, that voice said to me.
I was chosen for Trump.
I was at Taylor University, which is a very Christian university in Indiana. And I was working in the student union, and a girl came up to me and she's like, "What are you?" I said, "What do you mean, what am I?" She's like, "You're different, you're exotic." I said, "Oh, Jewish." She said, "Just like the Lord." I said, "I guess." She goes, "That's hard." That's the last time I heard that voice.
It sounds like Paris Hilton.
Did you bang her?
That's hot.
I was in the phase of my life where I was incredibly moralistic and stupid. In this period, there were 2 or 3 women that, like, essentially offered themselves to me, and I just don't know why I didn't say yes to any of them. And I honestly regret it.
Aww.
Like a
Don't worry, you'll see them again in heaven.
No, I won't. I'll never meet them again. But they were hot. And horny. And, like, literally verbally invited me, and I said, "No, thank you. I'm far too professional. This is a work environment. I couldn't possibly have sex with you." The fuck was I thinking?
Dumbass.
Totally. Like, it's one thing to blame your wife for not having sex with a woman. It's a totally different thing to blame you.
Did they work under you, or?
Well, one of them was an employee of mine. However, and I would even still agree, fucking an employee is a really bad idea. However, when this occurred, I can tell the whole story. It's actually kind of hot. But when this occurred, she was picking up her paycheck because I had already fired her.
Ooh, hate sex.
Yes. I fired her. 2-3 weeks later, she came to pick up her paycheck, and she started taking her clothes off in my office.
Stop it.
Even she had no piercings, and she just felt the need to show me.
Were they on her titties?
I was gonna say, like, in a place where you couldn't see them.
The two she showed me before I said stop were on her titties, but she had already unbuttoned the top of her pants to show me the third one.
Oh, God. Oh, boy. You did not fuck her.
I did not fuck her.
Okay.
And
After she pulled up her pants? My God.
she didn't get her pants off. She just got the top button off.
Did you mace her? Yeah, he didn't fuck crazy. That's, wow.
Yeah, I definitely should have fucked that crazy. So, background, this girl was, I want to say, like 19, and before you say it's disgusting, I was like 22. She had, like, a sugar daddy, and she was this, like, goth, skinny, little, tiny, beautiful, tattooed Jewish girl, who just, yeah. So, and apparently her sugar daddy wasn't giving it to her well. She was thinking, you know, this guy will give it to me well. And I didn't. Unfortunately. I should have. God damn it.
Sounds like it was good that you didn't, though.
Shut up, Leslie.
Well, you could have given it to her, but she
This is not the role you played right for Street. This is the role you played.
She could
my friends are valuable, but they all play their roles. Leslie, you are the one that encourages me to have irresponsible sex.
Yeah, I want you to do things that you don't normally do.
Exactly.
She's the one who encourages the fucking, you know what
Yes.
I
Yes.
think everyone should explore things.
Including homosexuality.
Most important.
I mean, Leslie agrees with that, yes.
That tracks with my agenda. Again, I'm not looking to like gain on the population. I'm not looking to exceed our end strength here. I'm just looking for the intern of the summer, returning back to the wild afterwards. Whatever you do on your own is on you.
Yeah, she puts you back as a better person. She puts you back, you know.
I think you're just so giving. You prefer to give women a new experience. Like, it's one thing to have sex with someone who has sex all the time.
Yeah.
That's another thing to show someone sex in a way they've never imagined.
I just like people to come in a way they've never come, and if they're like, "Holy fuck, I've never come before," that really gets me off.
Ah, woman!
Oh,
I did have a
Yeah, I
friend
did it.
who said, this has been probably 10 years ago now, but
salesman here.
she's married and she's like, what? She was like, yeah, you know, I mean, I think I've had an orgasm. I'm like, what? Wait, what? Like, if you don't know, then you did not have one. But, like, straight.
But you can have all different types. They're not all.
But you know something happened.
There's so many different kinds. Like your legs could shake, or like I don't know. There's all sorts of stuff.
Okay, we're being streamed.
Burning
We're
Man,
being
Burning
streamed.
Man,
Based on
Burning Man.
Elena's entrance of the room, she is a full-time watcher of someone's stream, because we are now being streamed, people. So let's be less interesting, because John Kitover's a fucking homo who likes to ruin everyone's fun.
And stolen valor.
And you know, likes to pretend he actually served in the army. And he's probably a fake Freemason. We'll find that out too, since, you know, me and several other people are Freemasons. John Kitover is a fraud, and Allah is going to have vengeance on him. Although Allah's
Protection!
Oh no, he's a patrilineal Jew. No, that's right. Allah's going to take vengeance on him. Fucking fake veteran, fake Jew, fake man, fake winner, fake politician. You're just a fake loser.
Fake Jew.
I think he's real. He reads the Tanya.
Yeah, Danny, you have terrible fucking judgment.
All of Danny's friends are fucked up in trouble. I'm sorry. And even though we are part of that, most of them that come in here that aren't us are crazy.
Yeah, everybody blames me. They're like, you get the weirdest people. I'm like, they're all fucking Danny's friends. Everyone.
Oh, Elle, did you get flowers?
Be like,
Yeah, they're pretty.
yeah.
I can buy myself flowers.
Oh my god, they're so pretty. They're so, like a little springy. Some scrubber, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah, that's all. Do you know Chicago, like musical?
Yes.
People they all rattle down.
Rattle that.
Oh my gosh, I was sitting over here doing the press time rag from Chicago by myself in the kitchen the other day, just like, notice I never said around all those, and everything done. This is my life.
Breaking news. According to Netanyahu's office, the U.S. attack on Iran's Fordo nuclear facility destroyed its vital infrastructure, rendering it unusable. More breaking news. A drone has been launched from Yemen towards Israel.
Yeah, Trump just said that any weapons fired from Yemen he'll consider to be attacks from Iran.
Did he say that? Good. That needed to be said like 6 months ago by Israel, but glad Trump said it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. He's redeeming himself a little bit.
He said
something similar months ago.
He's always, he's always said that.
Applied it.
Wait, are we talking about Trump or not? Yahoo implied it.
Trump said it.
Trump implied it a few months ago.
Yeah, but Trump just put it on his,
I don't know how this fucker can live with himself when he ruins a release button. Go kill yourself.
Oh, don't worry, Jeff.
Why are we mad at Edmund?
Danny, because he's a reprehensible piece of shit, Danny.
Maybe Hashem sent him to make us talk better.
No, Danny, here's the thing. I'm actually considering blocking anyone who follows any of Edmund's accounts so he can't come in here. So,
Dude, I'm on
just
the
an
cutting block.
FYI.
I'm on
Yeah,
the
just an
cutting
FYI. You may have to choose him or us.
yeah, but Jeff, he follows me and I don't follow him back, so he can still know where I am. It doesn't matter if you follow him back.
I actually know
Well, I
so
still like him.
Block him.
I heard
I try, but sometimes I don't always get all the words.
he told me that the account that it is, he told the room is not connected to a single human being.
Yeah, I know. I figured as much.
So you're never gonna catch it. They said that in a room actually. So
Yeah, I figured as much. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that. Like,
so I don't know which account, but it's gonna be someone with no friends.
yeah, that's fine. We'll just. I'm gonna levy charges with at the Masonic Lodge, and I can do that. His video Lodge 33 in Chicago.
Ooh, Lodge 33 is gonna get in trouble.
33?
Everything about masonry is special. He defiles it.
Can I become a man to become a mason?
No.
That's the Eastern Star, honey. You have to be the Eastern Star.
So Trump said it on March 17th, that any attack or drone, any drone or missile fired by Yemen would be considered coming from Iraq.
I somehow missed that. That's
But he never followed up on that. Like, I read it, and then they fired a whole
Says a lot of shit. Trump says a lot of shit.
Okay, changing the subject only slightly. I had a friend call me with her hair on fire that New York has voted in a Muslim
No.
mayor. So explain.
Democratic primary.
Oh, okay.
Which is basically the same thing.
Basically, he's gonna be mayor.
I think we are a Republican now.
Eric Adams to have a chance in the House.
Eric Adams, everyone says he's so corrupt.
Jesus, he's not gonna be mayor. I'm sorry, you guys are.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're not special if it happened live in New York.
Crap out of a lot of people.
New York
I won't know
is.
the results till. He didn't get more than 50%, so they now have to look at the rankings.
I'm not conceited.
Well, we should have waited a week.
So that is your right.
Ranked choice voting, don't concede until you know how the second place given. I think it confused the crap out of pretty much everybody. They figured they had to write any name.
He shouldn't have been Me Too.
He said he would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if he was in New York. Which the
I think Netanyahu needs to plan a trip to New York immediately to demonstrate how irresponsible and out of touch this fucker is. And let Trump go ahead and arrest this fucking candidate. Or, well, actually, he's just gotta wait until he's actually mayor. Because once he's mayor, if he tries to arrest that Yahoo, he's violating federal law.
Hey, we're not even a signatory to the relevant.
Well, and it's irrelevant because it's the federal government who would actually have a seat at that table to arrest someone on that.
And he said, oh, this is a sign of leadership where no leadership has been.
He's also running on, taking over all the grocery stores in the city, running them rent-free, tax-free, and, no profit.
There's one of the other stupid
That's
ideas
one of his ads, that's straight out of one of his ads.
is expanding rent control, which is just gonna reduce the number of housing units.
Yeah, well, okay, in fairness, like, the economic stuff about this guy, I don't care about. He's an anti-Semite, an anti-Israel guy. Like, some things are relevant and interesting to people here, but him, like, expanding property tax credits or whatever the fuck you're talking about, like, that's just your state of Democrat.
So he's like pro rent control because my step grandma was so big on rent control for New York City. She was on all those things.
I mean, rent control's at this point a scam in New York anyway.
It's fucked up because she barely had to pay any rent for so long, so I kind of felt bad for the landlord, you know?
It's all basically grandfathered, and what's fucked up about the system, frankly, is, like, you can inherit a rent control apartment, like, with rent control. Doesn't matter what your income is. Weird. It's a weird system.
No incentive to.
I don't think they were able to.
Get his appointment. Most pointless stream ever.
But like, she had a really good deal.
The only way you can inherit it is if you're on the lease with that person and the person dies.
Yeah, and if you're smart, you get on the lease before they die.
She should have.
Yeah, that's how
I would have liked to
friends
live
have to
there,
break.
yeah.
Exactly. My kitchen's almost clean. Please fuck your New Yorkers. It's gonna be San Francisco here shortly.
Yeah, we get rid of apartment too, that'll be interesting.
He wants to get rid of the police department?
Well, defund police is like,
Same thing.
Okay, I'm loving these commercials for Florida that are coming through my algorithm. If you want to protest and get in front of a car in Florida, you have permission to run over the sucker. I love these. It's so funny.
it's gonna be a huge flight of rich people in the tax base in New York.
Shirley, I can't stop watching the protesters that are getting run over.
Yeah, Florida's an interesting channel, I gotta say. In bad news, my favorite shawarma spot, which is owned by an Israeli Arab, and is fucking delicious and amazing. He's a nice guy, good guy, who is a giant Netanyahu fan. Unfortunately, he's not legally a citizen. He got deported yesterday.
Oh shit! Seriously? Is that the
Yeah,
restaurant you took me to?
yeah, you've eaten there.
Oh my god, that's awful.
It's bad news for Florida, bad news for America.
Okay, what happened? I missed what you said. Say it again, Jeff.
The owner of my favorite shawarma joint, who is an Israeli Arab, which is actually irrelevant to the story, but interesting, got deported yesterday. Apparently his wife got angry at him and probably cheated on her, I don't know that. And withdrew her paperwork for his legal status. And the result of that is he is no longer legal and he got deported.
How that's too
That's
bad.
terrible.
These mad I mean, that was just stupid. If this bitch has got kids with him.
I don't know if they're kids. What I know is now my supply of high quality is really short, but is in jeopardy. High quality is really short.
What's short?
It's I don't know how to explain this to someone from West Virginia. It's meat with a lot of flavor.
Okay.
It's meat you cut off a stick that's cooked on a stick by hamburgers.
I mean, it's kind of like what is it? Asado? No, not what's there's a Mexican.
They would say kebab probably, like comparable.
But it's not a kebab.
You're never
It's not,
gonna
it's not
get
like
my
the
brain.
Like lamb, like on a stick.
Yeah, it's kind of like gyros. That's right.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
gotcha.
the most likely reference point they would have.
It's a gyro with gyro.
That shit's cat, man.
Don't do that.
Everyone that earlier who was asking who is William, this is William.
Hey, William.
Hey, William.
Is he the guy? Did he just say that shit's cat? Cat.
Yeah.
He said something like that, yeah.
Hey, Leslie.
Yeah, that's William.
Yep. And
There's a little bit of William in each of us.
Leslie,
Yes, sir.
why should you never get into a fight with a dinosaur?
Why?
Get your ass kicked.
That's good. No.
Wait,
I don't think this flavor is well thought out.
I'm referencing me to Robinsons.
I'm sorry, I haven't seen it, Cap.
No, it's an older movie from when we were like kids. You go watch it, it's pretty good.
Is this your West Virginia Bridge of the Day? Like, is that the theme you're going for with these PTRs?
No. This is,
Yesterday I had the blue one.
yeah, that was one in Charleston because
This
I
is
took
the
a
punchy
picture. That is the one in this picture is the new River Gorge, and this is everything West Virginia. You got pepperoni rolls, new, a cardinal, a bear, a coal miner, a near, a deer, the mountains,
And an
and
owl
the
with wing.
Mothman.
And
No,
an
it's
owl
the
with
Mothman. It's the Mothman.
What the hell's a Mothman?
You know what the moth
It's
is?
Christian.
I've never heard of this before, ever.
It's a cryptid. You know Bigfoot and the Yeti and
Yeah.
it's one of those. It's a cryptid.
Krypton?
Cryptid.
The hell's that?
The tax
I
cuts.
think monster that we can't prove that's real. Okay, so in I think the
Jersey
Jersey
Devil in West Virginia. That's all.
kinda, yeah.
Thanks.
You know the movie about the Mothman?
Called the Mothman Prophecies.
Oh.
Sorry, Dex.
who's cleaning the room?
Edmund Con.
Why would he do that? I mean, why do people are friend with him? Everybody needs to like literally boycott him, and then he.
Yeah, I don't know why people treat him like he's a human
He
because
needs
he's
to
a
be
disgusting.
reported to Clubhouse, and then
Oh, no,
people
the
will
way
lose
he's-
his account once and for all.
Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't be sending an actual email to Clubhouse because.
Oh, his account is the Anon with the glasses. That's his account. That's the one.
He's got many accounts.
I know, but he only can have one Anon. You cannot have more than one.
If you have, no, you don't understand, he can.
He has multiple phones with multiple accounts.
Well, Clubhouse needs to ban him. They know how to ban people.
Yeah,
I've had to get a Google number for one of my friends from Clubhouse so he could open an account because they banned the person. Clubhouse knows how to ban people.
Yeah, but they'd have to go in and like ban the IP address of his internet and of all of his.
They do that though. They do
He
that.
literally has like 35 buttons.
No, I understand, but they can just shut it down and people need to stop go on stages and be friend with him and talk to him.
yeah, I
Join
won't go
their
on stage.
campaign, Jeff. I would block people if like we should do that. We should make that a trend
everybody who hangs out with him, because I go in rooms and I see people that are hanging out with him.
Sarah, we've tried for the past 2-3 years, but then other people think he's smart and funny, and then they like.
There's nothing funny about streaming what happens in social rooms. Like, I'm from Iran. Like, if he's streaming this room and then I say something about my family, he's putting my family and my life in danger. There's nothing funny about that. Like, no.
People who just hang out with this guy are a lot like people who just hang out with anti-Semites and Klansmen and say, but they're really good on economics. Like, this guy is dangerous. He puts people in danger, and basically, and mostly he's just a douche. Like, sorry.
Uh-oh.
When I first came in contact with him, and I should have blocked that account. I don't know if I was following it or not. I just started looking at it.
I have 35 of his accounts blocked. Wouldn't make a difference.
Well, anyway, when he first started all that streaming, he's on Instagram, sitting there with naked, naked, and he's streaming the room.
And also, he's on us too. Yeah, streaming us.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta figure it out, because it really is, like, people who think he's cute and fun and hang out with him really are putting us in danger.
There's absolutely nothing fun about him or funny about him, you know?
I agree. It honestly does put everyone at risk, and it doesn't make me want to come on.
Oh shit! Am I getting canceled because of admin?
No, Danny.
Well, stop hanging out with him, Danny. You're not the only one. There are other people too.
But Danny, it's not because of Edmund, it's because of your decisions.
Oh, what did I do?
You talk that you literally unmute Mike in here to defend him. Like, he's a bad person.
I don't. Isn't he sleeping without learning?
You have all of your friends telling you that like he's violating all of our privacy, it's making us feel awful, and you're still defending him.
No, I was
Danny, I come in
joking.
this room, I talk about, Danny, I talk about my family in Iran. I've talked about it so many times in this room. And if that's getting streamed in another room, that can put my family's life in danger.
Then you need to watch what you say, Sarah.
Jason, please, say something. I have to always say something, Jason.
that everything is recorded at all times. He's here to remind us that even if he's not in the room, someone can be listening.
They're gonna cancel people who are okay with him and justifying his behavior. That's all we're saying, Danny.
Yeah, he doesn't have a noble goal, Danny. He's trying to make money. Like, don't be naive.
He's making money while putting people's lives in danger. And if you want to like justify that,
They have 35 accounts.
Yep, exactly.
I don't have time or energy for kids like that.
Just isn't a good look, Danny.
When Hills does that, that's specific to me, right?
When I said to Danny, don't enable weird behavior because it makes us all feel weird, I just hope you're joking. Yes, that was the time.
No, when you get the girl with the whip out.
No, that's for Jason. No. Sorry, Danny. Don't misinterpret that, please. That is Jason's emoji only, and I only pull it out when he's already
I
on.
love it, Hills.
Yeah,
I'm like,
sorry, Danny. I'm so sorry for
Don't
that.
apologize to Danny right now. Don't apologize to Danny, okay? Honestly, it's pissing me off.
Okay.
I'm pissing you off.
Kinda.
I don't want to apologize to Danny, because while we like her judgment is terrible, as is evidenced by her marriage.
No one apologizes.
So, listen to your friends. We are warning you that you are going down bad.
Pathetic.
Okay, so my husband, what you should feel bad for, actually.
That could be true also, but like,
It's
like
logical.
just ask your husband, does he want to be cucked?
No, he wants to convert from Christianity to Orthodox Judaism because he thinks that would tame me.
So guys, is it valid if a man have a small penis?
Yeah, I mean,
Still a penis.
you could
no, it's
look
not
at,
valid. You should kill yourself.
In Slovenia, they have a penis grafting operation, if that's a problem for you.
How many centimeters?
See, this is a prime example why I don't want
Centimeter. Yeah, exactly. Centimeters are for the weak and the European.
Go on, Miss Shirley.
That's Miss.
why I don't want to be recorded.
Myanmar, we use the imperial system.
I don't want to be recorded on Instagram where my grandson is, where I am entertaining an adult conversation. No, I don't want to be. I don't want to be taken out of context. Okay.
He's really mentally ill. Look, he brings in the room multiple anons. Those anons with the glasses are all him. He's just like.
Hey, why would you have multiple? I don't understand.
That's like a mentally ill person. That's like.
Well, because he uses one to stream to Twitter, one to stream to Instagram, one to stream to
platforms. I get it.
Really?
No, but right now, because we just, set it down, he just like storms the room with anons.
Right.
Literally, I told him you're putting people's life in danger. Not over 900 people have been arrested in Iran right now because of the, labeling them as helping Israel.
3 were executed yesterday. Literally
3 were
executed.
executed yesterday. 4 or 5 were executed, before that. And then this dude think that's funny. He brings in more anons in the room. This is how dangerous this person is, Danny. Do you see that? This is how dangerous it is. Jeff, but I really think we should do that. I know Rogers is down for it too. We should just literally start blocking people who go and hang out with him. I have some friends, and that's gonna make me very sad, but I have friends on this app that I go in the room and I see them hanging out with this dude. If people hang out with him, we need to boycott them.
Boycott John
Yeah,
Kitover.
I mean, anyone who's defending his behavior is completely retarded. I'm sorry, David. He provides no value. He's literally ripping off.
One's not.
He's literally ripping off our fun. He's destroying our fun so he can make a dime. Just like he steals, like he pretends to be a veteran, which he's not. Like, the guy is a bad guy. He's a fraud. He's a complete utter fraud.
Why is he doing
I know he is.
Because he didn't fucking serve.
Well, he was part of intelligence.
He was not part of intelligence. He never actually served. He went to military academy. That's it.
Oh, so that photograph of him is military academy now?
Correct. And it's not even a real uniform. That's like his grandfather's uniform. All of the insignias are from like World War.
This is so funny.
What do I know?
Exactly. No,
This is why I operate.
No, I don't know. It looked like it was up to date, but
Look, and even if all that stuff wasn't also true, what he's doing is fucking antisocial. It's theft. He's literally stealing everybody's content to present it as his own, despite the fact that everyone says don't. He's putting people at risk. He's a disgusting human, and someone needs to run him over with a truck.
it's coming, I feel like.
Ooh. Another death threat.
So now, at this point, we need to very carefully talk about like sex, describe it in great detail, because apparently that's a violation of the terms and conditions of many of the sites that he talks about.
Well, there are a number of ladies in this room that I would like to have sex with. And I mean, I will go gentle and easy, and it will be fun.
me too.
What, you too? So
Am I a lady?
Yeah, no, you're not a lady.
I haven't gotten to the men list yet, but that's a different discussion.
I identify as a woman for the purposes of this conversation.
Whoa.
It's the age.
Oh my God.
I wish you had lots of hair. Like long hair.
Oh, honey. Guys, it was fun. We'll chat later.
I'm a
See, Miss Shirley's got to leave. Now, Danny, you can't defend him and tell her not to go. Stop being so fucking selfish. You can't defend him and then tell people who he's making uncomfortable they shouldn't go. Like, stop being such a fucking narcissist where you think you can have it both ways. You can't.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to be a narcissist. Come on.
Look, this is worse than anything Narcy ever does. Right? You're literally saying what this guy is doing is good and valuable, while telling the
Oh, she up because of the sex.
Which is because of him. She's fine with sex. She's not okay with being streamed. She's not okay with being streamed talking about sex.
I was talking about orgasms, the different types of orgasms, and then I was told to shut up because it was being streamed, but whatever, I'll talk about the orgasms, I don't give a fuck.
Alright, back to Leslie.
I want somebody to ride my bus.
Yeah, take it away, I'm over it. I'm actually kind of really annoyed, so.
Not at me,
Not at you, yeah, at Danny.
Leslie hates
I'm
me.
annoyed at you, Danny. I actually unfriended you.
Oh my god.
You're defending someone who's putting my family's life in danger. I can't be friends with you. Sorry, Danny. I literally told you the danger is putting my personal family in, and you're just saying, oh, but he's doing this with my
I'm trying to explain to you that if he could do that, that means other people can too, so don't trust anyone on this app.
It doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter.
Danny, there is no proof that anybody.
So you don't know who anybody is?
I don't think anybody else.
There is no proof that anybody but him is doing it.
No one else is
He's got
streaming our voice.
videos, he's got YouTube, he's got all kinds of our content that he is legitimately posting. Yes, other people might be able to do it, but nobody else is doing it that we talk to. That's the problem that you're not seeing.
I should be allowed to wear a short mini skirt and not be one.
Actually, you know that person who, when I told you, Jeff, there was like a security concern about like that phone call, I had reported that to FBI. Maybe I should report this guy because he actually streamed that room. You know what? I'm gonna do that because he shouldn't be doing this. I reported that phone call that, you know, the one I told you. I'm gonna report this dude too. Somebody send me his first and last name so I can tell them because it's part of that.
John Kitover.
Yeah, and do you want location here?
You want his address, his phone number?
Yeah, we got all that.
Message it to me,
We
yes.
got all that. And then FBI has a tip line. You can do it online easy. I just guess.
No, this is, I don't wanna go into details, Hills, but something happened from this app. I had to report it to counterterrorism at FBI for security reasons, for safety reasons. But then he has that room streamed, which is part of, you know, causing that problem, so maybe I should actually report him.
Yes, you should.
All right. I'm just going to say this right now. Those of you who call John Kitover a friend are going to go today. And you guys, if you value us as people, and you want to come into my spaces,
Are you saying
you're going to.
it's you or him? Is it an ultimatum? Are you giving me an ultimatum?
Trying to
No, I'm saying, in spite of the fact that it won't stop me from coming, the fact that you guys normalize it, I don't want you in my space. So goodbye, Zach. It's not gonna stop him from coming, but I don't want people who are going to defend our abuser. So Danny, you're going too. Bye-bye.
Yeah, Jeff, I appreciate that, because you probably already got filled in this morning, because I was in the room, Jules and I were in the same room, and I went looking around after I heard that, I saw him have a room open, and I knew you were doing a little research, so I came in there real quick, and I knew that guy is a fucking creep, so I went through everything to make sure that guy wasn't in it. That guy has so many freaking accounts on here, it's sickening. Yeah, I'm right with you on that. Yeah, that guy's
Yeah,
crazy.
no, like if they value us, they can stop hanging out with him. Sorry. This guy is a present danger and a fraud.
People
He's a sociopath.
sit in their room with him, they talk as if it's like, you know, like life as usual, nothing's wrong. It's just pretty annoying, you know, like, and then defending him, come on.
Yeah, and please tell me if I was too harsh on her, but that's just.
You weren't, Leslie, and I was
No,
not the
Leslie,
girl
we're not.
Because
People are in danger right now because of this dude. Like, this is not a.
Yeah, I know.
No, I like her too, but I'm not gonna condone her actions with this. That's not okay.
just because I like somebody on the app doesn't mean I have to be friends with all of their 4,000 followers. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of weird, and what she's doing is not okay. To the friend group, and we've all expressed very nicely in ways. I don't think you were too hard at all. Boundaries, man.
I don't care if I was too hard.
We've been here, what? I'm I'm sure everyone appreciates that part.
Jeff likes it, right?
I was not even making the sex joke.
Jeff's not,
Good
yeah,
Lord.
but that's you, Jeff.
Sorry,
So,
guys.
whatever you
That's
say.
not hard.
I don't want him.
It's so hard.
Golly.
Sorry, that threw me off. Sorry, Jeff. What?
Hey, Rosie, thanks for that. It was very nice of you to say. We're all just trying to do our best.
No, I appreciate that. I just don't. Yeah, I don't like what
Yeah.
Clubhouse has done with this anon thing.
Hey, this is
They should be able to kick out the anons and at least we give some control. But it's crazy to have your house and then have anons just be able to come in and not be able to be kicked out. That's stupid as hell. I mean, they could at least allow that.
Well, yeah, they could have at least responded to all the safety, reports people have done because of those predators that are still going room to room anonymously now. I mean, whatever, Clubhouse. You're gonna have a lawsuit on your hands. I just hope I can. Wow.
I'm just waiting to see the headline that Paul Davidson and it turns out to be a pedophile.
Right.
You know,
I have to reach out.
Paul Davidson, the founder of Clubhouse, I'm just waiting to see him on headline news for being a pedophile. It's crazy as hell.
Check your messages.
Breaking news, and then in the Farsi telegram of Israel defense, military defense, it says that the ceasefire does not mean that the war with Iran has come to an end or start where we have entered. I'm trying to translate Farsi to English. We have entered in, what is it called? We've entered a new stage of this war. That's a good thing, right, Jeff?
I wasn't listening, sorry.
I said in the Israeli military defense, in the Farsi language of it, in Telegram, in the channel, it says that the ceasefire does not mean the war has come to an end. We have entered a new stage of this war. That's a good thing, right? I hope so. Sorry, did I distract anyone?
No, you're being live streamed.
That's fine. I know exactly what's gonna happen to this dude. He's gonna be dragged into counterterrorism.
The chat, Joel says, I'm annoyed at you, Danny. You are not helpful. Yeah, man, we got
I really offended her. I got so upset at her. I'm like, why is she defending this dude?
Okay, so those two retards started a room, John Kitover for Clubhouse president.
Which two returns
And I'm gonna follow them now. That's really
the ones
fucked
you
up.
picked out.
Yeah.
They enable people like him, though. That's the problem.
John Kitover for Clubhouse president. John Kitover for Clubhouse president.
It's unfortunate that happened, but
I mean, this is why I'm just not nice to certain people, because, their true color just shows after a minute, and I'm fuck this. So, that's really fucked up.
she's a fucking tryhard, and it's attention to the game. This has brought her to her demise.
Dude, some woman got seriously doxxed by this dude, and she wants to do. That's unhinged behavior. I'm sorry, I pray for you.
I've gotten seriously doxxed. Are you fucking kidding me?
She's on me for
Her poor husband.
yeah, her husband especially.
Maybe
Knees
so.
for your chains. This is gross. This is gross. I'm unfriending her too. Sorry, I'm not even gonna talk to her, dude.
I blocked her on Instagram.
It's fine. I mean, he's got his little army of sycophants that defend him. But they'll have no one else. It's going to be a hard choice.
Retard on retard action over there.
Is it also Zach Baltrades, the iguana guy?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Not him.
No, not the iguana guy.
Not the iguana
No,
guy.
my friend.
Okay, which Zach? Who?
The what?
My friend.
His name is my friend. Oh, I'm sorry.
Zach Baltrades is our friend.
I'm sorry, Zach, we'll trace that. Added you back. My friend is in the
Jeff, check your WhatsApp messages.
Yeah, I'm not following my friend. Danny's not, I'm not following.
Guys, you literally are being live streamed right now, so I'd shut up.
It doesn't matter. I mean, nothing that they're saying is problematic to be live streamed.
You're
I like
just
to talk
trying
about
to get the
it.
problematic people out of my circle right now, and now I can
You
mute.
just need to have a friend in the room.
Zach.
Hi. I just came to say what's going on, Hills.
I fucked up. I'm sorry I misheard someone. I followed you back. It's all but nothing. Nothing is up, guys. Nothing. I'm sorry. I hit a wrong button, okay?
No.
It's a mistake. Zach, I'm sorry.
Alright, I'm gonna open a friends only room. I don't feel like dealing with this.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye, everybody. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Everybody loves John Kitover. Vote John Kitover, 16th District, Illinois Congress. And people like this, I mean, they're not so bad, but what are they so paranoid about?
Oh, how do you do that? Oh, friends, just friends. Yeah, that's
That's a very,
what was it set up as friends of friends or public before?
no, you can, this is public.
Public, okay.
Yeah, it's under the house, it's public, yeah. But even when it's friends only, people can ping, you know what I mean? Let's say like, I'm not friends with Jeff, but you know me, right? You can ping.
Yeah, I got it right. Yeah.
So the friends.
I will remind you, they have threatened to kill me, burn my house down, hire a hitman, etc. This is Jeff's room. Jeff is a wealth advisor in Indiana, and he's reporting me to my local Freemasonic fraternity. I'm really freaking out what the fellow Masons are gonna say about me. Also, he claims that he never served in the U.S. Army. Be happy to send you my DD-214 and my disability check.
I think Clubhouse will get rid of their non-feature.
I think it's completely legal in Europe. I don't know.
It's illegal.
Suck it!
Illegal.
Suck it!
I don't think it's illegal, but I
They have
think
very
it's
strict privacy laws. They have very strict privacy laws.
they're streaming, these rooms into your Instagram and other places. Those are illegal, but I don't know. I think Clubhouse is gonna get rid of it because it's causing a lot of, problem. It's becoming problematic for
I
people.
don't know.
We'll see. So Jeff opened the room.
Okay.
I will ping people that I know. I'm gonna go there and then I'm looking to see who's in the room.
How much you want to bet Jeff's room comes right up at the top of my algorithm?
Just close this room before.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
And then we'll ping the rest of the people. Okay.
Okay.
Don't worry, I can.
Also, the name of this room was "It's legal to threaten anon trolls." Oh, is it really legal to make online death threats?
So you're gonna stay here, Captain?
Yeah, I can't.
It's kind of funny because it's like, I have the video, you don't have shit. It's like, you gonna file a charge against me? Let me show you the video
I
of
know
that.
you said don't, you wanted to stay in this room because you were driving.
No, I am.
See, the problem is, I'm looking for Ben Mendelsohn's anti-MAGA show. Okay, actually, let's do an X. Oh man, isn't this funny? It totally alters.
A financial reason why we bully the fuck out of that fucking country, why we think that's terrible. And if people don't agree with that, it's just not that their point of history to know why those people don't like us. And I hate that what happens. That's a material of how the country is being formed as well, right? So you wanna have an honest conversation. It started in the United States. And then after that, it just escalated further with regime change, with our hand and insult government, with other folks that obviously
yours and stop sending fucking rockets off the fucking sky because those fuckers are sick of it. They're gonna eventually do some shit to you. You keep blowing the shit up, blowing it up.
Bring up a good point. Look at that, because here's the thing. What are they gonna do with the Palestinians? Right? Like, are they gonna rebuild it for that? They messed it all up. So if they're gonna rebuild, obviously they're gonna feel like they in charge. So now are they going to accept these people as citizens? Like, what's the deal? What's going on?
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly where I'm at, First Lady. Because it's like, you gotta get rid of Hamas. I totally agree and understand that. You got the hostage song, all that. None of that is without what I'm saying, right? Like, all that with what I'm saying. You get what I mean? Like, we absolutely have to make sure Hamas is taken out. You know, I can't fund them anymore. And then we get the people of Gaza, the Palestinians, and I think to make them normal first-class citizens, like everybody fucking else is, in Israel, where they can have a say in how that government is running. We need a new government, we need a new regime to be fair. I need to make sure Palestinians are in leadership there, so this country actually will be something that represents them as well, because their land was stolen from them. I would love for the Israelis to just leave, personally, but that's not going to happen, right? Like, my desire is not, I know it's not going to happen, so I can't sound foolish, you know what I mean? But that would be the best case, because otherwise, Trump talking about putting people in Jordan and Egypt and Qatar, like throwing them in other countries while they make Dubai out of Gaza. That's just insane. Like, why are we funding these horrible people? This is a terrorist state that we're funding because of our own Western hegemony and our bullshit. This is literally a terrorist state. If Iran is a terrorist state, if Hezbollah is a terrorist organization, if the Houthis are terrorist organizations by certain countries, why is Israel not? What is going on? Like, just as I'm talking just human to human, that's not right. You know? So
yeah, and I just want to throw something else in there. It's like, you see, Donald Trump, to me, as I've seen, he's prostituting himself. You know, Donald Trump is broke. That's why he needed Elon Musk to give him that money. Man could barely pay them bills when he went to court. Don't forget that part. When people wanted that $500 million, what did he say? I don't know.
But he was supposed to be a multi-billionaire according to Forbes. Right.
Yeah, man, bro.
No, I don't think that just need to sell some of his property out.
No, he broke because, let me explain why. And I'm not saying like.
Hello?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're creating such a drama.
It's so funny because, you know what? It's like being Trump. It's like you become the scapegoat for everybody's anxiety and anger. And,
Were you for the accounts at the bottom there before?
no, come on. Why would I'm lying? They can see what I'm doing.
I don't think he is.
They can see what I'm doing. I have.
He's bringing one to X, one to this, one to that, one to that. Oh my God.
Yeah. I don't know. People, they know it's all being recorded, so it creates like a weird effect in the brain, but it probably like ruins their dopamine, you know, like intake.
If I'm a friend with you on the app, he would unfriend me.
But that's the problem is he'll end up, you know, creating an, well, it doesn't really matter, but, yeah, I mean, literally death threats, burn my house down, call the FBI counterterrorism unit, like everything under the sun they have said, you know, which are, some of them are death threats. And like he put in the title today. They said they were gonna burn. They hope my house burns down. They said they're gonna listen. It's all on recording. It's not like I care. It's not like I take it seriously. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, this is politics, you know. And like if Jeff is the only green bean, and it's either, you know, him or me. I mean, you know, he just doesn't like the fact that I'm using him because you know, it's like content automation.
Yeah, to be honest, there's a subset of people in the app who don't like it. Now, there's a large group of people who don't give a shit. I don't give a shit, but
yeah,
there's a group of people who really, really, really give a shit.
Well, see, the fact is that like we're even having this conversation. Jeff may unfriend you and defriend you. You know, that's life. I mean, but
I was just trying to call and like, if you can spend your time elsewhere, great. If you want, like, I can't tell you what to do, but if you like, I don't like the whole room centered around you. Like, I don't come to this room to talk about you. I'll be honest with you. Like, you know, I
hang out with the other people. Like, they're nice friends, and they made friends with them over the years. So, like, the fact that they're, like, spending 2 days straight talking about you isn't fun. So,
I know.
to the extent you have bandwidth where you could deploy it elsewhere, could you please do that? Because...
Well, see, that is part of, like, my point, is that, I'm wasting my time even listening to these conversations about me, but I think it's funny that my mere presence causes me to be set. It's just like it's too much fun for me to let it go.
I know, but now that you...
Listen, I didn't create the anonymous feature. Before this, I had to have
I know.
30, like he said, 35 burner accounts. 35 burners.
I know, do it. Please.
Listen, I want to stream the hottest rooms that are happening. It's my business.
Jeff's room is not hot. I know it is. Look, I'm not saying what to do.
Are you kidding me? Jeff is basically a news broadcaster. He sits there and reads the best news. So much intelligence comes out of that room.
You didn't even know that Trump said that any missile or drone from Yemen is nothing against it. He said, oh, Trump just today announced that any missile or drone coming from Yemen will be treated as though it came from Iran. I said, yeah, he said that a few months ago. No, he didn't. I had to look up. March 17th, 2025, he made the exact same statement. Oh, I guess I missed that. Like, yeah. Be careful before the right date comes in.
Well, just if you talk to him later today, can you tell him to please not contact the Freemasonic Lodge near my house? Because he says he's going to internally report me to the Freemasons.
I'm amazed too. So,
well, just tell him, I'm not a member of the Freemasons, so it's a total waste of his time, and he's a schmuck. Make sure you emphasize schmuck. Make sure you emphasize schmuck. Because I tag it on Instagram because I'm reading, spiritual sacred text documents. So I'm trying to build content for these guys over there who sit there and want to study, esoteric philosophy. So, and also you can tell them, I can send them my...
No, the problem is that the moment I open my trap about talking to you, he's gonna, like, ban the fuck out of me, like, throw me out of the room and then, like, unfriend me and then block me and then, all that shit. So,
if you talk to him, though, tell him he's also a schmuck because I'd be happy to send him my DD-214. And why the fuck would I be wearing a World War II Army uniform?
He brought that up. I said, it didn't look like it was blue, and the World War II Army uniforms were like dark green. Like, I was like, it doesn't look gold.
It's just a Class A Army uniform. And yes, I'm a commissioned Army officer, so it's a stupid thing.
I was like, I don't think so, but he's like, no, you went to military academy or whatever. Maybe you did, but I think really looks like U.S. Army.
See, this is where I think you get into projection. When people start calling somebody else a fraud, that's when you're like, anybody who calls somebody else a fraud, perhaps they're a fraud. It takes a fraud to know a fraud.
No, I don't think he's a fraud. I just think I think he doesn't have all the facts in this regard. Like, he doesn't know.
He doesn't know me. He has tried to avoid me at all lengths and costs. So, that's a him problem. But the fact is, Anonymous, they're never going to change it because they want to disrupt the app. They need it to change. Otherwise, it's a dead app. It's just the same conversations over and over again. Anyways, it's my opinion. But anyways, have a great day. Take care.
You too. Take care, man. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
I actually just looked it up and I'm like, wait, we actually are both enslaved in the 50s when the U.S. UK.
Correct, 1953.
Yeah, we're in the 70s, like you were saying, so but that's fine.
No, what I was saying is in 1979, that's when Ayatollah was brought back in. After the regime.
Okay.
Right. That's what I was trying to say. So what I was saying to the brother, so you understand my point, First Lady, I wasn't trying to correct what you were saying.
Fine.
But I just want her to understand, like, I wasn't trying to disrespect you in any way or correct you, because you said it a while ago. I was just bringing it up to the brother was saying that the person in the text said that he didn't know what he was talking about, so I was thought that maybe that was probably why. That's all.
Am I missing the relevance to what's going on
Or are you guys just giving some history lesson, like going back to?
Yeah.
No, to substantiate their claims or either their.
Here we go.
Sorry to be so big about that. Then I guess the other topics are just sort of what's going on. Well, for me, it'd be like what's going on in AI, what's going on in technology. You know, what are some current, poignant psychological issues worth discussing? I guess if no one comes up, I could say that at 9:15 this morning I'm having oral surgery. I was supposed to have had my Kitover test yesterday, but I postponed that for a couple of weeks. Not meaning to turn this into into an audio diary here, but since no one's up here, I'm just doing a little stream of consciousness. So hold on, I'm just gonna very little notepad because I write down all sorts of things I would like to talk about when it's early and no one's come up. And I think that okay, so one of the things I've been thinking about is this idea of ethical dilemmas or professional ethics. Do they matter, especially sometimes that in different professions?
Damn, you don't have real friends, bro.
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I only have one bar.
You got
What do you mean? What do you mean I don't have real friends? What does that mean?
It's a joke, meaning that
Because you're my friend, then I don't have real friends? Fuck you.
Nah, I'm just saying that it's kind of like high school or something, It's like that's it, you're out, you're kid. It's so dramatic and funny. It's like he's creating the show. If you watch the replays, it's maybe kind of funny. I hope it'll be funny for him and other people in hindsight because I think I think theoretically I'm filming a comedy show. But nobody knows it yet until it's all hindsight, and then we can watch and be like, dude, this is funny that people get so emotional. It's so pathetic. It's so stupid. It's such a waste of time, It's hilarious.
Well, I feel like it's like the Emperor's New Clothes, where you're telling a joke over and over again that I think is funny, but not that many other people think it's funny. And so it's basically like Gallagher. You're Gallagher.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, Gallagher's funny. And everybody's like, I don't get it. He hits the watermelon, he hits the thing with a mallet, that's it? It's like, no, it's funny. It's Carrot Top. Carrot Top is funny. And they're like, no, I don't get it. He sucks. No, it's funny. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, it's just an amazing thing that this anonymous thing came out because and yeah, now that
it was a gift, it was made for you.
Yeah.
It was like a feature that was created for you.
And the most amazing thing is I conditioned all these people prior to this on 35 burner accounts to hate me. And they thought they thought they got rid of me permanently. And sure enough, the app opens a glitch and they're just their fucking heads re-exploded. And they're just
oh my god, he's
no! I mean,
heard, I guess you saw or you heard when I was removed from Jeff's room for my association with you.
Yeah.
And I hope you know that Danny was also removed.
Oh, I filmed the whole thing. What do you think I'm doing over here?
Right. What do you think I'm doing over here? But I just want you to know that Danny and I are basically your biggest fans.
I know.
So,
John for president. That even drove them crazy. He's like, those motherfuckers created John for clubhouse president. They're like, oh my gosh. That girl Sarah is so neurotic. She's so fucking annoying, but, God bless her. But she's calling the FBI counterterrorism unit on me. And I'm like...
That's amazing.
Yeah, so, I mean...
Yeah.
Also, Jeff is reporting me to my Freemasonic lodge here, the 33rd chapter here in Jefferson Park. And I'm not even a Freemason. It's like, dude...
Wait, why is he reporting you to the lodge? He's
a Freemason, so he's reporting me for unethical conduct for recording, conference calls that are public on the internet.
What fucking F word?
Well, like I said yesterday, he can't control it, and so he's probably a neurotic control freak, and everything he accused me of is exactly what he is. I mean, you can watch the replays, and you're like, oh, okay, you know what? He's probably a fraudster. He's probably a narcissist. He's self-centered and egotistical, and everything he casted on me is like his projection. So, That's why it's so cool to record these things and like understand how human communication and sociology, psychology actually work in the real world. Like, this is what has happened.
I mean, I feel like I don't. Maybe you've told me stories about how you've had fights with friends and you've hurt their feelings. I have done the same thing. You're a Scorpio, yes. Yeah. I'm a Scorpio as well, and so we both have the ability to sting.
Yeah.
But I already kind of know. I at least know one thing that I could have hurt your feelings about, but you already know what it is too because you project it all the time. When you yell and scream, guys, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, that's me projecting me.
Fear is actually that you're wasting your time.
That's
But then once I understood that about you and got to know you a little bit more and I learned a little bit about your life situation. I'm like, oh, this is like I see this guy, like I see who you are, like.
Listen, I record myself in 360 degrees. Everything I say is a projection.
Right.
I have, everything. See, that's the beautiful thing about transparency, where.
Right.
And also, I'm aware of it too. But it's nice to be reminded that,
Well, did you ever see 8 Mile?
Yeah. I mean, I just do not like Eminem. I feel like that's just like.
Okay, well, fair enough. I mean, people have their reasons, whatever. I'm not a huge Eminem fan. I don't really like Eminem's music, but I love that movie. I think it's a really good movie. And if you remember, the lesson of the movie is, if you remember, like, the last rap battles, like, this is amazing.
I forgot you're a rapper. Yeah, okay.
What, is somebody else there?
No, I'm, like, laughing because it's, like, I'm thinking it's, like, how do you bring in 8 Mile to, like...
Oh, I'm going to tell you.
I know, so yeah, go ahead.
Well, the connection is that Eminem in 8 Mile, he wins the rap battles by using all of his enemies' ammunition.
Did he use the N-word, though?
He doesn't use the N-word, no, but he takes the things that they're going to use against him, and he says it first.
Well, it's self-deprecation. Comedy and music are essentially the same thing. It's all hypnosis.
If you're an honest person, then nobody can hurt you because you can come out and be like,
yeah.
I am wasting time. I am a loser in my apartment. I do have 35 phones. Now what are you going to do about it? And, like, there's nothing that they can say at that point. Like, I did have sex with a transgender person. It was a horrible experience. Like, what do you want to say about it? What do you want me to say? I don't care.
I mean,
anyway.
I don't know. I think what I'm doing is like, it's not subversive, it's not counter. I just think it's like breakaway comedy. I mean, because how can you can go on stage and there's like 15 people that come to your comedy show. I mean, anyways.
It's a prank. It's a new form of pranking.
It is. It's crankers.
It's
a
crank yankers. It's like a crank yankers thing. It's like, I think I don't like pranks where somebody gets hurt. I don't really see like how people could get more hurt on YouTube than they could get on Clubhouse. And when you're talking on Clubhouse, anybody could be listening to you. Like, you don't know these fucking people at all.
Yeah,
so I don't know why you have this level of trust on Clubhouse and you're like, oh, if somebody listens to me on YouTube, they're gonna... What, are you afraid they're going to come to your house and kill you or rape you? What are these people afraid of? Like,
well, they're like, it's basically, I am the sacrificial goat that they just cast their
right, that's
fear,
much more
anxiety,
accurate.
and anger
Your
on
take
somebody.
is more accurate. It's just about control.
Yeah.
You trigger them because they have no control. It's not any more complicated than that. There's no fear of getting raped.
It's framing them. Nobody wants to get framed or put in a lens or put in a bucket, and like that's what I'm doing to them. And they can't stand the fact that somebody is able to like have a higher level of intelligence or consciousness or repackaging or bundling. Like, they can't stand that they're being used for somebody else's purpose.
Like when we're having a conversation, they always say an expression like holding up a mirror, or a poet is holding up a mirror to society or something. Like, you're literally holding up a literal mirror.
They can't stand the reflection.
That's literally what it is. It's just like you can go to your YouTube channel and listen to your own voice in real time, and you're like, oh my god, is that how stupid I am?
Because if
I sound that dumb.
See, this is where I wish people were doing what I'm doing to them, but doing to me. Because the truth is, when you run for office, the whole thing is like an influencer game.
and who can create the most influence. Like the guy that just won New York City, AOC. These are influencers. They have the ability to connect with real voters. So, I mean, my friend Max and I were like trying to like strategize on how to create like press and publicity. Because if I don't get any press or publicity from like actual news sources, like the voters will just vote for the other guy on the primary in March. So part of this is like feeding into this political strategy of creating content, and this is fully automated. So I thank Jeff, and I thank Amir and all his terrorist supporters and terrorist promoters and potential terrorists, because like most of the public is working and they have no idea that all these like back end conversations are happening. But yeah, it's an interest. I think this is more like a psychological observational study, And
That's why I'm here. I mean, that's why I'm doing it. It's like it's a window into humanity, which has always fascinated me.
Yeah, but it's
Humans
also
are very interesting.
it's the chemistry too, meaning that like this whole dopamine, neurogenerative, like all this brain science research stuff, like the network, it's here. I'm a part of that network. You're a part of that network. Jeff is a part. We're all nodes. So when one node is trying to like eliminate other nodes, that network becomes weaker. His network becomes weaker. The overall network becomes weaker. But that's why I believe in like total transparency. It's like part of this is like it's literally my brain into the internet and the internet into my brain. And that's why I've like told you like you should live stream more or bootleg Clown House, because it creates it creates another mirror for you and for other people and for the whole network. So I think what I'm doing is interesting.
I mean, yeah, respectfully, I think that you have, because I know a little bit about your situation and your house and how you're getting the amount of money that you have, I would say you're making the best use of your situation that you could be making. I mean,
yeah.
If I had less going on in the real, I'd probably spend the day on Clubhouse and try to like monetize it and try to build something. But I have to get off the phone and I got to go now basically because I'm meeting up with this classroom at 11 and we're going to do a little plant walk, and I'm trying to do things in the real world, but I'm still dipping into the psychological experiment. But I think that
what you're doing is important, but I would encourage you to create videos all the time, because really you have to look at this as like Motown. You're creating records. You're basically creating spam. And so how much spam are you actually creating? Because it's the legacy spam that might have residual value in the future, where you can actually stop engaging and just go back to not being a spammer. But you have to create something to create residual income for yourself. So
legacy spam is a good clubhouse. That's a good house name. Legacy spam.
This has never happened before in human history. These cell phones are creating like a breakaway society or like a tertiary communication environment. I don't know. It is what it is. Anyways, have a great day.
Yeah. All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, take care. Bye.
All right.
Let's get one more feedback. We'll see if Clubhouse Chris can take a call. Yo, have you been listening to any live streams of how I'm being centered in all the rooms with death threats and hate and projection?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Oh my goodness, it's nuts.
I was thinking, what part of this is? It's because for years everybody knows me. I've been conditioning everybody with these 30 burner accounts. So now that the anonymous is kicked in, like their heads are popping because they're like, I can't get my dopamine. I can't get my dopamine. I can't get my dopamine.
You're a dopamine siphon.
What do they call the energy vampire?
Yeah. I love it. I'm currently in the bathroom taking shit, so.
I just wanted to get your feedback because you would be the third person I've now talked to from Clown House on the phone. So, like, what is your observational opinion?
Totally deranged. That's like all I can see. I gotta record some of this content. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, you have a presence with your YouTube and your Instagram, and your association to me, like, makes you a recorder in the community. But yeah, it's deranged, but I think it's also like pathetic in the sense that,
It is.
yeah,
Who cares? Who cares? Like, hey, I don't care if I'm being recorded right now. I don't care. Like, whatever. Like, I don't have anything to hide or, it's like, whatever.
what makes it pathetic is that people will keep coming here for 80 hours a week and make no money, make no money doing it, which means it's not productive. You're not creating value.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So it is the definition of insanity.
I gotta finish wiping, so.
Okay, take care. Squeeze it out. Bye. He's gonna finish wiping his ass. Okay, let's call Scott for one more feedback.
Hi, this is Scott. Well,
Yeah, maybe.
comedy comedian.
Oh, is John in here? Is that John?
Yeah. I wanted to tell him how,
People are losing their minds over him.
Oh, I know.
One of the titles. So, it's like, this, permission for YouTube or some shit. But here's the thing, it's like, I would not pay for John to have an animal account just so he could go in there and sit anonymously if that controlled them. Because then they couldn't kick him out.
I think it's kind of ridiculous that like I get centered immediately.
Oh, it is him. Oh, dude, they were losing their minds over you, dude.
I know there's a couple rooms now. There's 3 major houses that.
Bro, you gotta keep doing that to Jeff and those niggas. Like, they were not happy.
Did you just use the N-word inappropriately? Or do you have N-word Tourette syndrome, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, he
I
does.
like calling kikes niggers.
Wow, classy guy. When was the last time you went out on a date and a girl actually looked at you and smiled?
It's not often.
Hello? It's just a simple question. Like a couple weeks ago, a week ago. Apparently it hasn't happened in years.
That's right. That's right.
You go to sleep with a fucking dog named after Hitler's dog. I mean, you come on here and use the N-word like it's a productive usage of your time. Who's the real N-word?
My dog.
Did you ever think about that? Look in the mirror and use the N-word? Go look in the mirror in your shitty little bathroom. Go say the N-word in the mirror and just realize that you are your words.
Oh, he's got a point, Tim.
No?
This is the point that you made to me the other day.
Ooh, hypocrite, 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 hypocrite.
That's right.
What the fuck point did I make to you in the mirror? I don't know.
Well, you were saying how, like, the way you talk about yourself is gonna, like, reflect what you think about yourself.
I talk about myself. Talk about other people. Thinkers.
Because the words you use are gonna become who you are. That's what John's saying.
Yeah, well, John's a thinker.
Well, but he's making the point that you are one by default. Look, it's hard to disagree with him. I'm just saying.
The guy's been locked up in a psychiatric ward, okay?
That's not nice. We've all been there.
Okay? Just like taking, weight loss advice from fucking fatties. Investment advice from broken is good.
Well, no, but you would take weight loss advice from someone who was fat at one point and now isn't fat.
Well, that's why he's still broke.
Huh?
He's still broke.
I don't get it. It's a different
beautiful day. Yeah, I get what the words mean. I just don't get the relevance.
So why would I take the advice from someone that's not previously broke, but still broke? Like,
Well,
still
look,
today? Like,
maybe he's saying that you're broken spirit.
oh, he's rich in spirit. Oh, that's how he's up for it.
No, but it takes a broke you to know broke you, I guess.
Hey, look, Julius, he's rich in solitude, bro. You know?
Well, that's not an easy thing to do.
I'm gonna try to make this a thing. I'm gonna be like, you're rich. You're rich in, yeah, solitude's a good one. You know, that'd be true. What's a fancy word for peace?
A cat. It's maybe you don't get it. In America, peace can also like refer to like a gun.
Yeah, sure.
It's like a cat. Oh.
Prosperity.
Yeah, but by saying it's the opposite of something, that someone's rich in something when actually they shouldn't have an abundance of that thing. You know, because an abundance of solitude, being rich in solitude means that you're
I've been abundant.
Sí, sabes, te concede por... אלה של הקופים, ממש שאתה concede. איפה את? כל היום אני חושב עלייך, איפה את? אז אני אעשה את איתי ידיים כל הזמן.
But, you know, and I can empathize with, you know, at times I'm like, tell a lie. And I can also identify with, you know, being a kid and being caught in a lie by my father, which was the worst way to be.
Aggression against another state. I'd be interested to be able to read about that because, as far as I know, in my study on this region, which is reasonably extensive, it's not completely thorough, to be perfectly honest. But I've never come across an instance where Israel has actually initiated a military campaign against another state or entity.
So are you complete, bro?
I'm pretty cool, yeah.
Okay, because you've been going research, I just wanted to make sure you were done. So I just gave you one. I'm kind of appalled that you didn't hear the point that Israel invaded Lebanon. What is that called? That's a sovereign country, is it not? Like, are we missing something here? Was that not a sovereign country? That's the question.
So Lebanon's not a good example because the reason why they did that is because of the PLO and Hezbollah. So
You said because of the PLO and Hezbollah. There was no Hezbollah. Hezbollah was conceived after.
There's been Hezbollah since, if you look at the Lebanon war back in 1982, that full-scale war with Israel invading because of PLO and then, which would be later Hezbollah. So yeah.
Correct, but that's just the point that
You gotta look at occupation in Lebanon, and that shit, and that's what led to the rise of Hezbollah. So like, and there's been a war after that in the 2000s where they kidnapped those Israeli soldiers. So like, it's a weird dynamic. The problem is, I'm gonna be honest with you. For me, this is just for me, and this is just like growing up in position I've been growing up in, and then also like listen to historians when we do like some type of strategic plan. Like these Arab countries can rein them in, right? And the reason why they're not doing it is because their reliance on U.S. Equipment and military, and then also like even with Iran, they don't give a fuck about Iran, to be honest. And the instability within that region. So like, this is a thing, and we can't just blame it on one country. This is like it's history on history on history, and then what each country looks like. So they can bring them in. Why not? Why is the Arab community not bringing them in?
Okay, can I finish my submission though, Ms. Pat?
That's the ceiling
That's
fan.
your submission, and I just answered.
That's Brandon's work.
But I disagree with that, so that's why.
It's not the fan blades.
Disagree,
I
and then
think
you
it's
can
the
say,
wire
but
in
don't
the,
say you cannot finish
box.
my submission. You were done with your submission. I just answered your question.
No problem. I apologize. Okay, listen. So what I'm trying to say is the same reason that we have our problem today, which was because of solidarity with the Palestinians, is the same reason why the Hezbollah started to fire the rockets at that time, right?
It's not okay with being streaming.
Situation, I believe this was, and I might be saying this word wrong, so
It's not okay with being.
the Israeli, pro-Israeli people, if you can help me, is they call it the Sheba farms, or Sheba farms, right? Right? And so, at that time, right, I think that what I'm trying to say is that
The
every
ticking
time
noise is
that
also indicative of a film, a movie theater, a
they're acting as
speak
we're looking at them as terrorists, but we're not looking at the instigator in this. So we're calling them the instigator when there's only one prime instigator, which is Israel. And so what I'm saying is that when they invaded, Lebanon back in the day, are you saying that Lebanon just had no reason to have a problem with Israel, or are we just saying that they just came out and I want to kill an Israeli today? I don't understand the point here to make it seem like Hezbollah forming that is wrong because of what they did back in the day. Like I said, Israel invaded Lebanon. Was it the other way around?
I'm happy to respond if nobody else wants to.
I'm confused with what he's saying because this is the problem. We look at Shia identity or martyrdom, right? Lebanon has a Shia Muslim community, and then they're supported by the Islamic Revolution. So when it comes to it's like a really that's why I said it's really complicated. Like the Middle East, this is all around religion. And this is how I feel. I feel it's all around religion. Nobody gives a fuck about the Shia population. And then some of the stuff that they're doing, it may be them protecting or trying to protect what they feel is rightfully theirs. But then again, this is still going to be a Middle East problem, and that's not only to include Israel, that would be, and to include Qatar, that would be to include Bahrain, that would be to include Jordan, who doesn't even really, to be honest with you, they probably don't care what happens to Palestine at this point because of historical shit that's happened in the past. They're only protecting themselves. Like these Middle Eastern countries really are not on the same page as what you think they're on. They're only doing certain things because of their population and them saying, "Oh, we're all Muslims, we're still brothers." But outside of that, there's no real support. So if you look at how Hezbollah was conceived, this is part of Iran's prerogative to export their own Islamic revolution. And when it comes to foreign proxies, Iran is probably the most powerful when it comes to funding or training, guidance when it comes to ideology. This is not something that is very complex, and how you're speaking on it, it's mentally in my brain, and that's why I'm getting confused with some of the stuff that you're saying. It's like you're only taking a bit of information and not understanding the whole.
Can I maybe throw something in there? You look, and this is something I think we could all maybe learn from. It's one thing, if you're standing in an area, you see a wall that's dividing two people. Factually, you've got a wall there. You can also give an opinion and judgment and say, well, it's a shame that the wall is being put up and is dividing two people. But to be able to leave it there and be angry for one side putting up the wall and blaming them for the separation doesn't get into the nuance and context. Understanding and reaching a reason why was there a wall put up to start off with is a key question to be able to put up there. It's like if we learned that, you know, terrorists were going over this line and they were killing innocent people, and that's the reason why the wall was put up, then that's an understanding of the why. But understanding, well, has it been effective or not? Well, that's another thing. And if you find that 97% of, you know, terrorist attacks and, you know, killings have been stopped, then you'd have to say, well, actually, I understand now why the wall's put up. I would have done the same thing myself. The same thing goes to, you know, to these comments like, well, Israel didn't initiate military attack against Lebanon. In 1982, the reason why Israel needed to be able to go in there, yes, Israel did go in there, but only after continued PLO attacks and an assassination attempt on the Israeli ambassador in London. And the same thing goes in 2006. You know, Israel was at war with Lebanon because Hezbollah crossed over the border, killed 3 people, and captured 2 Israeli soldiers. So there was a need to be able to, you know, for Israel to be able to do that, to be able to catch up. So yeah, you're right in saying that, you know, Israel is at war with multiple people, but understand at the same time, like Hamas, their charter. Are you familiar with their charter? You?
Yeah, I've heard.
Is it you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, did Israel force Hamas to be able to write their charter and Article 7 of their charter in 1988 clearly states what its objective is, and that is to be able to kill all Jews. They're a Nazi organization, effectively, and to be able to wipe Israel off the planet. Now, do you seriously think that you could be friendly? You know, these 2 parties could be friends and shake hands and play around with each other? It'd be silly to think they can. 2 people need to be able to find common ground to be able to achieve a common outcome. And there's a reason why there is a complex situation which is there, but it could be very simply put like this. If Hamas chose to be able to put down their weapons and want peace, there'd be peace. If Israel chose to be able to put down their weapons, there'd be no Israel. And because of that, there's a reason for Israel to be able to defend itself at all costs. It's their responsibility.
Okay. Wait. Levon, you wanted to respond?
Yeah, I mean, we have Kim Jong-un in North Korea that has a nuke, and he's constantly have an infrared threat towards South Korea. Anybody like doing preemptive strikes against them? And we're just gonna ignore international law, all these preemptive stuff, and have Israel get away with this stuff. I mean, we're talking about a live stream genocide that's going on every single day. None of these people have clean hands every single day. And we're just going to ignore that and just blow up international norms and do preemptive strikes. That's not, I don't care what anybody's chanting. The diplomacy was not allowed to work. And we do all of this subterfuge, and then we want to act surprised that they're going to withdraw from, which was the original topic of the IAEA. How are we better off based on what Netanyahu and Trump just did? In fact, we're worse.
Point of order. Who modded mother? Stop the program. Who?
I'm sorry, I had to do it. Alright, I'll move myself to the audience now. That's fine.
Wow. That's crazy.
Hold on, cash in that big ticket for this pack.
So, I had something I wanted to say. Am I free to go?
Where's the first lady? Because then we'll bring her back up.
Can I speak on what I wanted to say, or should I?
Their sphere of just a few people, I feel like the bar is raised. I don't think the bar is lowered. I mean, some people I think take it as sort of an invitation to how to do a life, and I mean, personally, I don't think it's very healthy, but also I think that it's a bad habit to get into. I mean, you've just seen so many situations where it just becomes impossible to guard sort of the many pronged, faces of living a life. And I know in early psychology, psychoanalysis, they were always talking about these blank slate therapists, blank slate analysts, and I don't believe in blank slate anything. And so
Somebody has a room called Trump and MAGA are racist.
because I think congruency is this, as I've heard it said lately, it's about the realness, it's about, can you connect with somebody and does it feel genuine? Does it feel easy?
I've watched people now,
and talking about, fake leadership or whatever the hell you put that, it does make a lot of sense because how can you, I think it puts you in a position of at home, you're sort of this one thing, you go to work, I mean, I get you have different personas you're putting on, those are functional, and that's fair to do, and I think some of us have more pressure or less pressure to do that, but I think you're on the money when you talk about congruency being a really important aspect of being a good leader. Having integrity, yada yada. And good morning, Susie. Good morning, Steve. Anyone want to chime?
Yeah, I would like to. The first page of the Dhammapada, which is an ancient Buddhist text, says that everything comes from the mind, and that basically what you focus your mind upon is what grows and flourishes. And so if you put that together with other Buddhist texts, what they say is you suffer through life if you're, so to speak, not congruent, to use your words. If you are not, expressing your mind, living according to your mind, understanding your mind. If you're in conflict with yourself, your mind, whatever, you're going to suffer. And so people who are inauthentic, who are fake salesmen, like that Always Be Closing. What was that movie? The real estate movie. It was a play and then became...
Gary Glenn Ross.
Yes, thank you. Always Be Closing. You have to be in some kind of agreement with your own mind, or number one, the people around you will see it. Number two, there's no way to lead effectively if you don't really know where you're leading from and why and where you're leading to. And this is Barbara's territory, not mine, but one good thing, I suppose, about psychological training and the kind of studying and deep diving that you've done, Dr. James, and do on a regular basis is examine congruency and try to bring people into agreement with their own minds. So,
including self.
Actually, Dr. James, just quickly, cognitive dissonance. You could look at cognitive dissonance from a psychological perspective, is what this is referring to from a Buddhist perspective.
Right.
I'd love to add one more thing. Just what you said, Dr. James, I don't want that to be missed when you said including yourself. Because what we often find, so we do these leadership assessments, right? Which is called the 360. So your peers assess you, your direct reports assess you, your boss assess you, and you assess yourself. And what we see often is that, and I'm going to put a gender lens on it too, right? Men tend to overestimate estimate their self in terms of, are you, on a scale of 0 to 10, how effective are you in whatever, right? Valuing people, valuing differences, or something like that. And women tend to underestimate themselves, right? Under assess themselves, right? But the point is that there's an incongruence between self and others, right? So important to have that kind of deep dive on, wow, I thought I saw myself like that, but that's not how I occur or how I land for others, right? So how can I create congruence between my intentions, which is to be respectful, inclusive, and effective, whatever, right? And how I actually land for other people. That's the learning, and I love what you said, calling out the self. So I'm done for now. Thanks.
Interesting, Barbara. I think one of the first times I opted to do a little mini talk in here, we did a talk around these types of biases and some of the differences in the way gender is both perceived and experienced from kind of a psychological framework. And I really do think that's on the money and it's not to be missed. And yeah, the reason why I say self is because, and this is something I brought up right at the end of the time we had here yesterday, was in psychology, if you're getting a degree through an American Psychological Association accredited school, there's a requirement, you have a minimum of a year's worth of personal therapy. And I think that's part of sort of the ethos to do no harm, because, obviously we want to get a bit more in touch with, things we may be missing about ourselves as part of the process of being helpful. And I think it's good. I appreciate the work you do. We probably have a lot of overlap in terms of some of the things we've experienced, but you're coming from much more kind of seasoned, experienced place from that, and I'm kind of at a new start of a new career. But it's kind of not a new career, but becoming a license is going to be its whole new bag of kind of ethics to hold. And one of the things that I thought about a bit is on the other side of a license, one really becomes kind of an autonomous agent of personal and professional ethics, and the only thing at that point holding someone back from, doing harm or doing some sort of thing that could get them into hot water, I think is really just having developed over time habits that continue to evidence practicing ethics in their lives, and having some values that they understand and they can sort of anchor to. And I think this is really kind of an important thing. And I think earlier I was asking about kind of the perception of different professions. Different professions, there is more of an expectation. If you're a police officer, you may be considered very skilled if you're good at deception. And then, if you're a politician, you probably are frowned at for being good at deception, and you probably have an oath you've taken that means you have to be more transparent. So it's just a very smarmy place, because different people come in from different positions on, what is ethical behavior, what is honesty, what is trust, does it matter? I think it's a really interesting conversation.
Can I just offer a national perspective?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I come from Denmark, the same as Barbara originally, and we sort of have a friendly banter with Sweden, our neighboring country. So we're in Europe, we're in the Nordics, and we are actually the two countries that have been in most war in world history, Danes and Swedes. So now I'm talking bad about Swedes, I come from this is my disclaimer. So the Nordics are very often pointed out to be among the happiest populations in the world. So how come the Danes are the happiest people in the world? Well, right now it's the Finns. They don't understand why. I can say that's in truth because I'm half Finnish. But so Scandinavia seems to be very happy people. But somebody said to me a year ago that it's a little bit interesting why Sweden will never come on top of that list. And we immediately agreed they will not. And the interesting mental thing in that is actually because they lie and Danes don't. So Danes have the reputation of, I know all you guys from the US, you're going to enjoy this, to be the United States of Northern Europe. That means that we are very friendly and very calm, but we also to the point, so if you ask me, do you think I did a good job, we will most likely say, no, I don't think so. There were bits that were good, but, well, no, not really. And that would be honoring our relationship that I tell you the truthful answer, which is quite interesting in this discussion. But then to a suite and said, is this company that we're in, should we do this new task? Then in Denmark you would go, yes, I think so because, or no, I don't think so because, and somebody will make a decision at the end. But in Sweden, you have a group of 10 people, you ask them the question, they will all have to agree. That means somebody has to lie.
I mean, that's a really interesting point, and I think that is another wonderful nuance of sort of the conventions of truth telling and kind of the cultures of truth telling and that sort of thing. Yeah, just
how do you achieve consensus?
Well, sometimes you don't, right? I mean, sometimes you just don't. People either, like what Susie's saying, they kind of fold, right? Versus really to get an agreement. But you can achieve alignment, right?
In Intel, we used to have a principle called disagree and commit, which meant that in every meeting, I never really understood it. I mean, in my own case, I disagreed enough times that I walked out. But disagree and commit, then you can express your, displeasure or disagreement, but then you had to say, okay, you're on my team, I'm on your team. We're gonna do this even if I think it's wrong. And how does that square? Just thinking about this, it's been over 25 years since I worked at Intel. But,
I'm curious to ask Susie about, as a Dane, this is my perspective about happiness. I think that Danes are content, right? And there's a level of contentment that equates to happiness, right? And then there's the happiness part because I was just talking to my sister for a couple hours last night, she's in Copenhagen and she's in this tiny little apartment and she's, and she downsized, blah, blah, blah. And she said, I'm really enjoying this 800 square foot, whatever, right? She's content, which then she says, I'm happy. What do you think of that, Susie?
I think one of my Danish-German border people, sorry, it was just Goldstein. Students and people working in IT. He said that people said it's difficult to get used to. And then he said to me, I had been sort of listening one day, they're not cold, they're calm. And I think calm is the best expression I ever heard to explain a Dane. That's because if you get fired, that's no big deal. Because the Danish workforce system is made very easy to hire and it's very easy to fire. And that means that the government has taken the risk for the workforce and saying, well, we have made a system where you will actually get 80% of your income for 1 year currently. That means that if you don't worry about getting fired, because you can be calm and think, okay, maybe I'm not doing the right thing, maybe I should take a second education, maybe I should work for a different company. It's no big deal if I get fired. You can take the education you want to because we get paid to educate ourselves until a certain limit, of course. But every single Dane has a right to not only free education, but also get paid while you're studying. So that means we are calm. We are very, very calm. And sometimes a little bit, if you're calm, are you happy? I think it goes a long way. But can you still be desperate even though that you're calm? Yes, you definitely can.
Wow, that is exactly the opposite of what I have noted in the United States. First of all, in the United States, we're all totally identified with our work. So it's not, so if we get fired, a part of our being has been taken away. So this is why
that's true
AI
as well, actually. popular as a temp staff because I just took my Danish work ethics to my jobs. And all the British people I work with, they're like, why are you doing all this? And I said, that's because when I get paid to be here, this 5-star hotel, they have a huge do with 1,000 guests, and the success of the event, that is my job. So I don't need a boss to tell me that the wine is being cooled instead of being heated. I can see that for myself, and I just take action because that's my job to make a success and not to do what they can tell me to do. So you take responsibility as a Dane, and that is very typical for Danes working abroad. That there's this kind of honoring and
not a slogan here. I'm just saying what it could have, theoretically been.
I got just fund the block. Fund the block.
Hold on. That's why defund doesn't work. Because if you're actually paying attention to not just the nation, but certain communities, especially in the South, and how they feel about police in particular, you're not going to run that. You're going to have to flip that into, why don't we get community centers and other things like that? So it is a thing of that. I'm not making excuses for Nina, because like I said, Nina, I thought you were talking about in general, my bad.
It's going to blame the Democratic establishment. Whenever progressives lose, it's never that they alienate people. It's never that they're anti-party,
or like I said, the charter school thing makes people off.
It's never that they don't do, never that. It's only the Democratic establishment. Now, I happen to have some ins with some of the bougie blacks of Cleveland. They had meet and greets. They had church events. They had town halls and all types of shit. Nina Turner would not show up to talk to those old black church ladies because she had to do CNN hits. She knows it's always a Democratic establishment fault.
I feel like, James, you go. Can I go for a little bit and then you go, James?
Bro, I just got up here and started talking.
So did I. I'm going. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna finish on my point about how the slogan here doesn't work, especially when you don't have. Oh, I'm in the Matrix.
Oh, I heard him clearly. You're actually coming in here. No, I'm in the Matrix. I had all the bars.
So, to make a long story short on my point on why defund doesn't work and why some of these other things don't work is because I think that the people that are running really don't have a good pulse or are outside enough may not work, and why we may have to tailor the message to something that's more palatable. Defund was never going to work. Like I said, you have a cultural context where unfortunately we have been inundated with pro-police propaganda. I mean, I still remember the Serena Daniels trial when Tanya Haggerty was killed in the late 90s. When that woman cried and said, I fear for my safety, even as a teenager, I said, they gonna let this woman go just because she cried on the stand and said she feared for her safety from a black woman that wasn't threatening her. And what happened? Not guilty. I just had to be escorted out by a car. And that's where you see this, and that's how defund doesn't work. There are a lot of people that are sympathetic to their plight, because of how media plays a role, it shapes ideas, and if you're running a campaign and you don't know that, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna lose. I don't want to say y'all, I'm done.
No, I don't disagree with that, but I really do think, and I know nobody likes it, it's definitely a style over substance issue. I've been on Clubhouse a while. I remember the week Defund the Police came out, and I told liberals and leftists that this is a terrible slogan. It should be like refund the block. We should have different ways to talk about this thing without literally making a statement that's untenable with what we state is our philosophy, which is that the more you fund government institutions, the better they behave. It's not actually a statement that is even coherent with a leftist worldview. So that's a part of why it's bad. But on top of that, it certainly wasn't just liberals doing that corporatist pandering to identity issues in lieu of dealing with substantive issues around class. It wasn't leftist in kente cloths on Juneteenth. It wasn't leftist doing that shit. And so there was a lot of bad optics. There was a lot of bad optics that helped caricature liberalism in a way that seemed insincere. And when I say the Mandani model works, it doesn't mean Mamdani's substantive interests that are aligned for New York worldview's work. That means he doesn't talk too long. He doesn't say right at the end of every affirmative sentence. And he sounds and moves and speaks like a fairly heteronormative man. Like he's a heteronormative man.
The guy that went around to all the different religious temples and put their hats and shit on.
That guy.
Wait, you just said, wait, okay. So
That guy.
again, but you just said he didn't do the things like the Kente Law.
It's how he presented himself. He didn't come into the Kente
This is
Law.
so phony.
You don't like the style, man. You don't like the style. But the bottom line is, the shit you did.
He didn't do it. He didn't do it.
He didn't do it in the same way. He's literally Muslim. So whatever he did in the mosque was like literally.
Sikhs are Muslims.
He's a Sikh? I didn't even know that.
He's not a Sikh. Oh my God, he's not a Sikh.
You said what's not Muslim?
He
You're
went to
yelling.
the, never mind, bro.
No, you just yelling so I can't.
Listen.
Oh my God, nah, y'all
You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
No, you keep talking. I'm trying to explain to you. When he would go to the Sikh temples and stuff, he would put on the hats and stuff. He literally did the same thing.
I'm talking about black voters. You were talking about black voters. The Sikhs.
Wait, I was
There's nothing more New York
black
than
voters. God, bro.
I just feel like
Voters
if you
vote
don't
for
think
Democrats.
the reality is there's a difference between how Otis and Trent spoke to Nathan and how you were speaking to Nathan. Whether you agree with it or not, you were doing the Mamdani shit. You were doing the Mamdani shit. Stop yelling, Nico.
You are so
everything is meta. Everything is meta.
Did you know he put everything is not meta? He did do this version of the
I think you're making. I think the comparison is unfair. I think the comparison is unfair.
It is not unfair.
If you
It's just
believe.
people liked him.
Well, but I said that before. He's likable. I said that before.
But you said that people didn't. You said he didn't do it, and what I'm saying is he did do it.
When he
Obama
does it,
did it.
Obama seems authentic when he does it. He seems believable when he does it. There's a performance to it too. There's a performance to it too. What you did with Nathan was a performance.
Come on, bro. Calm down. What you're doing is a performance. Let me ask you a question. Why did they do the Kente cloth? Do you know?
Was it? I don't even remember what the function was for. Was it for George Floyd or was it for Juneteenth? I don't remember.
They were asked to by a black group. Asked them to do it.
I don't know who them niggas
They
are.
were literally asked to do it.
I don't know who them niggas are. But I can name some niggas that sound
It
like
doesn't
that.
matter. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. So if you don't do the thing, it's a problem. And then if you do the thing, it's a problem.
How did you not know that the Kente cloth would be like farcical online? How did nobody around them? How did nobody around them know? It's not everything's a distraction.
Because it happens all the time in politics. It happens all the time in politics.
Could it be that Dems are bad at politics right now?
Man, this is insane. You asked a question, I'm answering it. Okay. It happens all the time. And this one time, because the people were old and Democrats were unpopular and it was MAGA, they got caught up. Politicians go and do these kinds of things all the time. All the way to Schumer does this. Eric Adams was out there talking about, what was he saying the other day? New York is the Albania of America. I forgot what it was. It happens all the time.
If you can't,
I'm not, but go ahead.
well, I mean, I'll be doing the pauses. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. It was a dramatic pause. Go ahead.
It wasn't dramatic. I was inhaling.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to kidnap you. I already said kidnap. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I lost my train. Good deal.
I'll just say, if you can't tell the difference between a Ghanaian, Nigerian, Muslim going to a Sikh temple versus Italian African people who are saying the Kente cloth, I don't know, man. If it's the same to you, it's the same to you. But I don't think it's received the same way from the American public. I don't think it's received the same way.
More than that. Articulate. He's done more than just the Sikh thing.
I'm responding to the thing you said.
Oh my God. You know what you do? This is what you do. You find out new information and then change your original argument. Your argument, he didn't do those kinds of things. He did do those kinds of things. Nancy Pelosi before has done those kinds of things. It's just that moment. They did not lose any, Kamala Harris did not lose any voters because of the CBC. to use one of those public. You're not a Democrat. I don't want to say
What am I? What am I?
I think you're a progressive. So you said last night people should become social.
Right, you're describing a relationship where you have to raise money.
No, I'm not a DSA, but what I say is I think there's things we want to do in the DSA. Isn't it DSA, Democratic Socialists?
No, yeah, you were right. I was like, you think you can learn from the kid?
Yeah, I think there's a way to integrate.
Track record?
I think there's a way to integrate some of the style of approach in certain largely white male spaces that are doing the right males. Yeah.
Oh my God.
What is DSA?
So have you ever been to a DSA meeting? They're terrible, bro. I mean, I can be honest with you. I mean, be honest. Have you ever been to a DSA meeting?
I don't go to meetings. I don't work related. So like, I don't feel I need to go to a meeting to learn about DSA. But I mean, it's also deeply.
For those of us who
all y'all do is capital, either talk to me or shut up.
It's funny. Because those of us who know about DSA, especially in New York, they do all the racist cringe things that you say not to do. So it's actually very cackleable for you saying people should learn from the DSA. Like everything you critique immigrants for, that's what DSA does. That's why it's funny.
What policies are they pushing for in DSA?
They locked me somewhere, bound and gagged.
No, that's articulate. He was the one that said
Those are the three policies are they pushing for?
Socialists. They're fucking democratic socialists. They're dirty shit. A lot of them are being right. Some of them are fringe. Many of them are like Vermont side, English lit type of people. But on the other side of it, because they have a politics that's quote unquote not de-racialized and class-based, the Vines-ass Rogan kids do still kind of find an affinity towards them. And while I don't think you can win a lot of them over, I do think at least learning to put forth that style for the moment. Like we didn't set Barack Obama doing a campaign that was like multicultural and not pointedly, identitarian. That shit might be what it is right now. The country isn't ready for like overt racialized identity, like gender, sex statements. They really do, however, hate fucking millionaires. They really, that shit is real. That shit is real. Like, what do you think?
DSA doesn't do that. Okay, you don't know anything about DSA. This is wild.
You always say people don't know anything because you disagree with what they're saying. Like, if I don't know about anything, then just stop talking to me. I don't know anything, right?
No, well, if you don't know anything, stop talking. Why is it incumbent on me to stop talking if I know, but you don't know, so you can't talk?
You never have a conversation with me where I have 10 people who are saying nothing, just cackle. When it's your turn to talk. So that's just generally yours.
This one was really funny because the DSA does all of the identity stuff that you were talking about.
I don't love that.
I'm almost done. Mamdani himself, until about 3 weeks ago, also does all of the identity stuff. Like, this is what's funny about you somehow think that you said that they were de-racialized and class-based and that they do socialist shit. That's hilarious.
The DSA doesn't do socialist shit. That's not what the argument is.
No.
Okay, what's
Democratic socialists? They do not believe in socialism.
I understand.
They're a bunch of white boys getting ting-tanged. They are a complete mess. So many people have left the DSA. They're horrible.
I get it. So let's just consider this. I mean, who do you think is the model?
This one is waiting for them.
On a national level. But I already said it in the states.
There is no model on the national level until you get a nominee. And so I think when you have a nominee, I think like right now, the model for Democrats successfully has been no one from the coast. That's probably what they need to do as a starting point.
If that's how
I
you
used to
feel,
hate that argument, but I think it's true.
if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. What I'm actually trying to say here isn't that you take everything that you hate about the DSA and apply it on the national level. I'm saying you find areas in which there is like traction, or at least like a depressive aspect on the opposition, the actual opposition, not internal oppositions, and you see where you can apply it. I think the thing that makes Mandani most effective is he looks, talks, sounds, and feels like
He does have to vote.
Believe me, that was a struggle last year with the whole young people protesting last year. Last year. God, that feels like 10 years ago already, the presidential race. So he did it. And I don't, so he won. I think it was it 43, almost 44% to about 30. Sorry, I don't have the numbers right in front of me because I
think it was like
38 to 36
to 36.
It was about an 8-point lead, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't a full 10-point lead, but
Yeah.
nonetheless. But when I looked at the map, I thought it was really interesting because he took a lot of Manhattan, which I thought was very interesting, and not surprising about Brooklyn. And then Cuomo's big leads I thought were concentrated in Staten Island and up in the Bronx, which
And you know what's interesting?
made my hair stand on edge. Well, there's a big Italian contingency.
That's true.
Which I don't think of us as being tribal, because I certainly don't necessarily fit in that crowd. But and I want to just correct that yesterday, towards the end of our talk, I was, excited and moving on to something else, and I misspoke. And of course, Ken Frankel, who I think is originally from New York, correct me if I'm wrong, Ken. Ken is always right for the most part. Ken is, and I appreciate you, Ken. I misspoke about Zoran being a state assembly. I know, but obviously Zoran was a state assembly. He is still a state assembly person, and for the 36th district. So I misspoke yesterday, and I wanted to call that out. And of course, also, I just wanted to correct one other thing, which is that his policy on rent was to try to freeze rents and build more affordable housing and go after more, I think, tax on the wealthy to make that happen. And there's a larger debate out there about how economically feasible any of these policies are, or how much, fighting and politicking and partnership building they'll need to get it over the line and into legislation. But if he does win, but he certainly has excited the youth base with, I think, these simple messages around affordability. I'm not going to weigh into his position on Israel or Gaza right now, but I just want to say that it was seen as, a stunning upset, but many people are trying to take lessons from it. I think one of the messages that maybe Dems are looking at is this is a sign of embracing that the party wants change, or that certain segments of the party want change and are embracing change. And perhaps that's going to be a line they're going to go with. But there was I can tell you, I got a million texts from a lot of young people who were very excited, and also from friends that I know many people that ranked Lander first and Adrian Adams second. So it'd be interesting to see moving forward if he does win, and if people are concerned about his lack of extensive experience managing the city, what kind of strong team he could build. By maybe having some of those same people that were running with him in some capacity. But I think so. Now we're looking at a four-way general. If Cuomo said he seems to have said he'll keep his options open. He didn't. He said he's on the general election ballot. So I'm assuming he's going to run, but he said he'll keep his options.
He has his own party. He's not going to run.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to. Yeah, go ahead.
He's not going to run. He said what he said, but I mean, the fact that he conceded so quickly because he knows that he's not going to, the way that the numbers are going to break on the what do you call it, on the
between him and Adams.
No, the way that the numbers run, because it's what's the system called again? It's the ranked choice, right? So the way the numbers are going to break on ranked choice, he already knew he was going to lose. Okay, that's why he conceded so quickly. Okay.
That I knew, but you think he won't win again?
No, because if you can't win a Democratic primary, you get clocked like this, and you're a former governor and the son of a former governor. Okay, you're just not going to win in November, and he's got the incumbent mayor running in November. You have a Republican who's well known, even though he's run before. Okay, and he's not really a politician, which is Sliwa. Okay, so no, I don't think he's going to make a. I think if Adams wasn't in it, Cuomo would definitely make a run for it. Okay, but because Adams is in it, I think Cuomo he's going to do one of two things. He's either going to actually endorse Madami before the election, saying that he wants to endorse the Democratic nominee, or he's going to stay neutral. But I don't believe he himself is going to actively run. Now, his name may remain on the ballot because I don't think they can take it off, you know? So he'll be there. But, but he's not going to actively run. Would have to raise money. And I have to tell you, for a guy who was a two-term governor, this was a terrible result for him, okay? Because a lot of it sometimes is based on turnout, and that means you didn't have favors you could pull, and unions, and political operatives, and your father was the governor.
But they did have a historic turnout, but it'll be good to see the breakdown of who turned out.
I've seen a detailed turnout, Andrea. So
you did? Yeah. Oh, cool. What was it?
About Manhattan, because actually Cuomo did well in Manhattan. He did particularly well, in the Upper East Side, particularly. He did relatively okay on the Upper West Side, and then in some of the areas like Greenwich Village, he got more clocked, as you might expect. But where Madami really had the biggest margin was in Brooklyn. He had the biggest margins in Brooklyn. And that's because Brooklyn's changed a lot since I lived there, okay? So that doesn't necessarily surprise me. One of the things I noticed, because I know Brooklyn as well as I do, is when you look at, I told you how much Brooklyn's changed. My neighborhood, where I grew up in Canarsie, was mostly a white neighborhood when I grew up. It's mostly African American now. Cuomo won that with like 60%. He won East Flatbush next door, which is, the East Canarsie, with 60%. Now, most of those African Americans in Canarsie and East Flatbush are homeowners. So they tend to actually, think a little bit more centrist, and concerned about taxes. Okay. Right, but then you look at something like Bedford-Stuyvesant that used to be, when I lived there, again, 100%, almost like 100% African American, but it's been gentrified now. And you got a lot of white young liberals there, number one. And Mandami won there, and he I'm guessing, I can't tell, probably even one among the African Americans who are still left there, because they tend to be more renters, okay, than homeowners. And so Mandami's, promising rent freezes and everything. And then you mentioned the Italian
this is Congressman John Kitover. I'm in Ben Mendelsohn's Deep State Patriots. He's just posted my YouTube account. We're going to find out what he has to say.
But now it has a lot of Palestinians and a lot of Arabs. And the thing about the Italian vote, as you probably know, Andrea, in New York, okay, and this is true even downstate New York in general, not just the city. Italian
This is Congressman-elect of the 16th District in Illinois, John Kitover. We are in the Deep State Patriots Clubhouse Farmhouse account with Ben Mendelsohn and his collection of Trump derangement syndrome Democrats. It's titled Live from the Brazilian Embassy, Geopolitics Without the MAGA, and he has pinned my YouTube link.
Because all of a sudden, November, all the Republicans get to vote, more Italians would be able to get to vote. But I don't think he's going to make a run for it. I think he's going to do one of those two things. I said he'll either endorse Mandami, or he'll just, not endorse anyone and stay quiet.
A lot of anti-Muslim sentiment on X this morning. Do you think that'll make a difference in the general?
I'm not sure.
What's the question, Francine?
anti-Muslim
Okay, this is John
sentiment
Kitover,
on
Congressman-elect
X.
in the 16th District of Illinois. That's Peoria, Rockford, Bloomington, Quincy, Normal, other areas of Illinois in the Central Corridor. I'm running for your Congressman. I am in the Ben Mendelsohn Deep State Patriots Trump derangement syndrome Democrat psychopath house with Ben Mendelsohn. So somebody's playing copyright music. Shit. How is this phone playing copyrighted music out of all the phones? Holy shit, that's wild. My phone is playing
Matter that much. The whole Israel thing won't matter that much because there aren't enough Jews left. As much as everybody says how many Jews are left in, how many Jews are in New York, a lot of the areas that used to be Jewish are not Jewish anymore. Okay, they're other cultures and other, races, and that's one of the reasons Mandami was able to win. Because Mandami would never be able to
This
win.
is John Kitover, 16th District of Illinois, Rockford, Peoria, Bloomington. I am in Ben Mendelsohn's Deep State Patriots. This is a collection of Democrat Trump derangement syndrome psychopaths, low IQ voters, and they have pinned my YouTube link because they hate me that much. I've been getting death threats that my house is gonna be burned because I have been recording Clown House for many years now, and they've introduced a new feature called Anonymous that doesn't allow them to kick out accounts, so I'm able to live stream the room. And this is Ben Mendelsohn. He absolutely hates me. He called me an F-word loser yesterday. So we're gonna see what they say because they pinned it. And eventually somebody's gonna say this room is being live streamed. We're shared by Ben.
This is not Arizona.
So we're gonna see what they say once. I'm sure they're gonna mention the link. Here we go.
A couple of things, how much, what lessons are actually taken away and applicable for Democrats across the country, and well, depending on what happens, I suppose even in the general election in November, but still, I think it's also
This is
interesting.
Congressman-elect John Kitover in the 16th District of Illinois, Rockford, Peoria, Bloomington. I need your help. I need your support. Go to johnsforcongress.com. I am in Ben Mendelsohn's Deep State Patriots. This is a group of Trump derangement syndrome anti-Americans. They consider themselves part of the Trump resistance. It's ridiculous, and they've pinned my YouTube account to the top of the room, so they're hopefully going to mention it soon, and you're about to see the follow-up. Go to brownforcongress.com.
It's not as clear cut, and many Jews I know voted for Mamdani, and I think sometimes we read into this way too much. In that, I've been dissecting the map for the last 12 hours of the different areas, and it is fascinating to see how it breaks down, neighborhood to neighborhood. Mamdani was more than anything else.
This is Congressman-elect John.
Because the Islamophobia that you're talking about, Dr. Francine, happened for sure in the last few weeks. Like, if you were a voter, you got bombarded with a lot of shit here that was, certainly veiled Islamophobia, and sometimes outright. We saw the ads, and the bottom line is people are sick of the Democratic establishment. So when they see an endorsement like Bloomberg, they don't give a fuck. When they see an endorsement of Bill fucking Clinton, they definitely don't give a fuck. When they see all the money that is going towards defeating Zoran and not promoting somebody else's message, that backfires. All of the shit they were typically doing to try to sway it towards Cuomo, who was not liked anyway, didn't work. On top of that, well, if people were holding out and unsure about Cuomo, there was such a movement, anybody but Cuomo vote, by all the candidates, I should not say all, but a lot of the candidates that were running on the ranked choice were against Cuomo and were even like adamant, don't rank Cuomo here, and then doing the cross endorsements, which were very big. But the thing of it is, people who were not sure about where to put Cuomo or whatever, I think a lot of them did watch the debate. A lot of them did watch him campaign. He probably ran the worst, laziest campaign that I've ever seen anybody run for mayor of New York City. He rested on his laurels and his name recognition, thought he was going to coast. It was so arrogant and dismissive of New Yorkers. And when you watch the debate, he wasn't it. People were expecting somebody who was going to be, tough and in control like he was during the, COVID daily statements and all of that. He wasn't it. He was slow. He was not connected. He didn't have any sense of power. And then during the campaign, he wasn't even out there. He was barely out there doing the thing. If anything, he had all of his money back people throwing negative ads out. And people are sick of this shit. People want change. And I personally was voting for Lander or Adrian Adams. Those were my two. But when I see all the enthusiasm of the young people and people really just sick of the establishment, this is a shot that should be heard around the country for not the policies, but the idea that we need transformational change. Doesn't mean that everybody's like, yeah, I want free shit. It's not about that. It's about wanting to upend the system and do something better for the working people. So that's what I saw.
And Austin says in the chat, not just the country, but the world, and I actually agree with him, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, Andrea, can you, you and Scotty take over for about 5 minutes? I got,
Yeah.
so.
That's fine. No, but I wanted to make sure whether it was okay. I wanted to give, because I have the map pulled up.
Yes.
The New York Times interactive map by polling place and by neighborhood is really fascinating. And to your point, to Ken's point about the homeowners in Brooklyn.
Link in. Did you put the link in the chat for those of us in Arizona?
Oh, yeah.
I'll put it.
Okay. Yeah, anyway, pin it in the chat, whichever. When you look at whether you look at the neighborhood, when you look at just the boroughs overall, okay? So Brooklyn went 49 to 32, Mamdani. Queens went 46 to 39. I don't know who would have thought Bronx would have been Cuomo country, but it starts to make sense when you see the map. 53 to 34, Cuomo over Mamdani for the Bronx. Staten Island was 46 to 37 for Cuomo. Manhattan was 39 to 34. And the neighborhoods in Manhattan that went for Cuomo were fairly predictable. I know this very well because this is my domain. The neighborhoods that are the wealthiest went for Cuomo. It is not a shock. And, and Brad Lander was, pretty up there. But Upper East Side went 45 to 29 for Cuomo. Upper West Side is a lot closer because they're a little more liberal. They went 34 to 30 with Brad Lander at a close third. And then the only other one of note is really like Tribeca, for example, which, is probably the most expensive. Everywhere else, from Harlem to Washington Heights to, Greenwich Village, Chelsea, all of that is, was all, Mamdani. Not by a huge amount, but it was a significant win. And I find it very interesting. Then when you look at the Brooklyn side, it's very funny. The more gentrified parts of Brooklyn, because I think Ken talked about Bushwick. Bushwick is within
Bed-Stuy that got gentrified.
Well, right,
Bed-Stuy.
Right, no, I'm making the point. Yes, Bed-Stuy got gentrified, but there's still a lot, it's still predominantly black neighborhood. But here's the thing, Bed-Stuy is a very, very politically active community. Very politically active. This could also contribute to why they went for Mamdani. When you look at Bushwick, it was 79 to 13% for Mamdani. I mean, that's probably the biggest gap in the city. On the flip side, for Cuomo, if you look at Borough Park, which is largely Hasidic Orthodox Jews, it went 80 to 11 for Cuomo, which I found very fascinating. But the less gentrified parts of Brooklyn, and yes, where there are more homeowners, but it's also not as wealthy, ended up going for Cuomo. Cuomo won a lot of the less wealthy vote in a lot of these boroughs, and that's probably similar to why he won the Bronx, meaning Cuomo. And the only
Well, no, it's different. Look, the neighborhoods he won really strongly in Brooklyn, which I lived in, which I grew up in, have changed dramatically, but I understand how they've changed. Nonetheless, I mean, they changed demographically, but they're primarily people who own 1 and 2 family homes. And having run campaigns there, I've run many campaigns, okay, they vote on issues like property taxes, okay, they vote on taxation, okay, and so, it's, that is a reason why Cuomo will win Canarsie, and he did win Canarsie, and he won East Flatbush, and then he'll lose areas like Bushwick, because Bushwick doesn't have as many homeowners. I mean, it's that simple.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm trying to relate it to the Bronx, because the Bronx is also Cuomo.
Yeah, the Bronx surprised me. I mean, it's like, I just really...
Yeah,
the only thing I can say is, look at the vote. I mean, I don't know if you have enough breakdown to see Riverside and Co-op City. When there's still probably significant amounts of Jews who are not as liberal as the Jews that you're thinking about in Manhattan, and even those Jews apparently, a lot of them voted for Cuomo if he did that well on the Upper East Side. So I would think that may explain the Bronx more than some Italians on Arthur Avenue.
Right, I hear you. Co-op City obviously went for Cuomo. He also did campaign there because I remember seeing that. So yeah, I mean the map is very interesting, but essentially West and North Brooklyn is all Mamdani country, all the way up to Western Queens. But then that side is essentially Cuomo. So I find it very fascinating, this map, and then
Cuomo's off from Queens. He grew up in Corona.
Oh yeah. No, I understand. And it's not surprising that the ones closer to Long Island, Little Neck, Douglaston, all of
that's money.
Much more.
That's money.
Exactly.
That's where Trump grew up, actually.
So, when you finish, I have a different question, but keep going.
I just want to say that I think maybe this is we could open up a room later and get some New Yorkers in and do a reaction room for folks who want to dive deeper into New York. I think we've made the broader points about, what change this portends possibly for the Democrats, and just check back with Scotty if there's any couple of points that you want to land on, Scotty. What do you think? And then move on to other topics for folks.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, the thing that I find interesting is obviously we're in New York City and we're kind of bombarded by all of this, but to see the conversation that is happening nationally on this is really interesting. But I think what Republicans on the right are already doing, and what they're going to continue to do, is talk about the socialist league, talk about everything is free, and not talk about why I feel and why so many people voted for him is that they wanted a change. If this was basically, I hate to say it, like an anti-Hakeem Jeffries vote in some way. This is an anti-Chuck Schumer vote. Right, I was going down the list. This is anti all of those people vote because they want something new. And this should be studied by the Democratic Party to see how the candidates in their specific region not necessarily adopt the policies, because it's not about the DSA, it's about how do we connect with people on an organic level to talk about the needs that they have in their community. That's how we can be.
And I just want to share, as we're wrapping this up, that my former colleague did get elected to DNC vice chair, so we could start a crowdsourced document for people who want to put forward their well thought out desire for change from the DNC, and any thoughts and suggestions, because maybe there's a chance for change with some of the new leadership in there.
Agreed. Can we go to Barbara then?
Yeah, I'm super. So I am confused about what's happening in Iran, and I don't know if any of you have been, following it, the insanity of it. But what? So the last thing I heard, and I'm just doing a fact check right now, last night was that the bunkers, or whatever we call them, were hardly damaged. Does anybody have any line of sight on this? And the fact that Iran is declaring they're just going to rebuild it is only going to take a few months. So, question for you.
Yeah. What I know, and I haven't looked at it in the last couple of hours, so there might be more information. But basically, the assessment is that there was damage, at all three sites, but not enough to prevent them from recreating it. So, apparently, the nuclear matter, the atomic matter that they are most concerned about, was moved out of its location. So they think that they have the majority of that, and that's the problem, because they might not be able to make a nuclear bomb that they can send in a missile, but they can make like dirty bombs out of that, and they can make smaller weapons that are radioactive. So, but the bottom line is, it did damage, but not enough damage to prove it. It held them back anywhere from about 3 to 6 months longer than it was last time. And the thing is that Trump is saying that everything's been completely demolished, which is absurd, because they have no way to know. I mean, that's one of the things, is that pretty much most of the things that I've heard different was that they would not be able to tell the actual damage unless there were boots on the ground and they actually saw the damage, because it's down so far that there's not and there's so much debris that they can't. It's not like an X-ray machine that they can go down and see exactly what's in there. They know that there's damage, but as far as they know, they might have moved everything out of the way. They don't know. So if anybody says they know for sure, they're lying. And the what do you call it? The head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff said that. He said that we think the damage was done, but we will not know for a while because of the difficulties. So the thing is that everybody is saying that they won. Trump won, and Iran won, and Israel won. Nothing's really. Well, the thing is, the thing that changed is they've been threatening to do this for how many years, and they actually did do it. So that is a fact that it changes the situation. But does that mean that Iran's going to have a bomb any sooner than, or any later than it would have otherwise? Probably not. I mean, the situation's pretty much the same. And Trump is just going, he's just shooting his mouth up, like an idiot. I don't know. Has anybody else heard anything other than that?
No, but I feel like the Iranians know that Trump is crazy.
Yeah.
And he would bump. Yeah. And that would hold me back.
Exactly. I think that is something that changed to the benefit of I don't know of who. Look, it's the whole thing shouldn't have been done. This should have been done through diplomacy. This what should have been done with the original Iran nuclear deal that Obama did. I mean, we wouldn't be in this situation if he wouldn't have rigged it up. But it is what it is now, and as long as he doesn't do anything more, I think we're really not that much of a different situation than we were 2 weeks ago. Other than he knows that Trump's crazy and he might do something, which again, I mean, gives an advantage to Trump for
for right now.
The other thing that we don't know now is who's really running Iran, because I had heard somewhere that the supreme leader left before the whole thing began.
Well, he went undercover. He sort of disappeared, but he's around somewhere. I'm pretty sure he's still pulling strings, because we would hear otherwise.
Oh yeah, because you're in the diplomatic community.
I don't know. They don't exactly call us up on the red phone and say, hey, you guys need to know this. But, yeah.
Wait, Brazil has a red phone?
Oh, yeah. Ellie carries it around wherever she goes. That's her little red phone.
I thought that would be the nuclear soccer ball.
That's true. It's not. It's an American football. It's not a soccer ball. At least I saw that in the movies. Anyway, you know what? We've been watching. I ain't never seen Designated Survivor. I don't know if anybody else has seen it on a stage. You know, it was this show. I think it was around 2019 with Kiefer Sutherland as the unexpected president because they bombed the Congress during the State of the Union address. So I think you know this thing, and it ran for like 3 seasons. And I had never seen it. And I have to say, if you haven't seen it, you should watch it because there's so many things in that first season that is totally relevant to what's going on now. Where if you would have seen it, if you would have seen the original one, you would have said, "Oh shit, none of this could possibly happen."
You're seeking
And
out
now you're looking at it, you're going, "Holy shit, all of this stuff is happening." And it's like crazy. I don't know. I just thought I'd mention it. I think it's on Netflix if you want to see it. Anyway, anybody else have some thoughts about either Iran or even the New York election? Susie
Q.
Okay, Susie Q. Okay, go for it.
Okay, and thank you for accommodating to my native Danish
Fucking Danish chicken,
Denmark is such a small country. We are very easygoing with our names how they're pronounced, so no problem. Yes, I actually have a comment because I saw an article in Financial Times, and I think this is a direct result of Trump's actions in Iran as the sort of cherry on the cake. So he has actually sent so I'm just going to read out here from Financial Times. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has praised Donald Trump for making Europe pay in a big way in increased defense spending in a private message that the US president shared on his social media platform. So the keys here are the NATO Secretary sends a private message where he praised Donald Trump for making Europe pay in a big way with the big in capital letters. Donald, you have driven us through a really, really important moment for America and Europe and the world. Rutte wrote ahead of the NATO summit that begins on Tuesday, so this is a couple of days ago, referring to the US president's demand that all allies come to raise the defense spending to 5%. You will achieve something no capital letters American president in decades could get done, he added, and so forth. It was not easy, but we got them all signed into 5%, Rutte wrote. Europe is going to pay in a big way, as they should, and it will be your win.
Wow.
Wow. So, I don't know about you guys, but maybe somebody's taking lessons from Putin or North Korea or something, that the way you get your way is to send private messages that you can then post in public and tell that you're the greatest, the best, the biggest ever.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, Susie. It is so disturbing and bizarre how people are playing into his game. I mean, it's such a childish game. We have to praise him and we have to say nice things about him.
Yes.
And they're all buying into it.
Well, I think we could sort of debate what buying into it means. Maybe it could be, I will play it your way as long as I get it my way. It could also be a different way I'm sort of.
Well,
The thing is.
the fact of the matter is, he's a sick man. He's mentally ill, and this actually does work for him. I mean, anybody who has any self-respect would understand that somebody who is overly praising him wants something in exchange. But he's not built that way. He doesn't understand. He has no capacity to understand that. He will absorb whatever praise you give him. He is insatiable, and it's idiotic. And the fact of the matter is,
It's not
he can't. Yeah, no, he's a very mentally ill man. He can be manipulated by praising him. So to a normal person, it sounds like you're overpraising him and you sound silly. But the fact of the matter is that when you do that, he will change his behavior. And the opposite is also true. If you say anything nearly against him, he'll just lash out 100% at you. So he's like an exposed nerve ending. And there's nothing above the brainstem here. There isn't a strategy.
Oh, Ben.
You kiss his ass, and he will react to kissing his ass. That's it.
Then I'm just foreseeing some trouble for Ukraine because they actually put him up, recommended him for the Nobel
No, I know.
Prize,
I know.
and they pulled
That's
it
what he
back.
wants.
They pulled it back.
Did they pull it back?
They just pulled it back.
Oh, okay, so you mean some people nominated him and then they took the nominations
Yeah,
off?
the people from Ukraine that nominated him have recalled the nomination, saying
Okay,
that
okay.
well, there's no peace.
Well, the problem is that some of his buddies at some point or another, just for this same reason, to kiss his ass, to make him do something, will say that. And if enough of them do it, it may happen, which would be horrible. It would be a really terrible thing. I don't know. I just wanted a quick mention. I don't want to give him that much room, but I did pin the asshole's name up on the top. So this is the guy, John Kitover. Now I know our friend Max has said that we are being streamed right now, and he streams other stuff too. He streams Patty's room, and he streams Lisa's room, and Jeff S. If you know Jeff's room. And what we're gonna start organizing to get him kicked off social media. So if you go to his YouTube site, all of us, I'm gonna see if I can get Lisa. We're all doing it. We're all taking our houses, and we're asking everybody to complain, both at YouTube, Instagram, and here. He goes by Adrian Dittman is his fake name, but he has other fake names as well. But we'll get him. We'll dox him. We'll get him, and we'll get him kicked out. He is a horrible person, though. You should know that he's completely fake. He's not a congressman. He's a loser. He's one of these guys who sits in his basement, who's an incel. He has nothing better to do. He's a really horrible, awful, maggot person, and he can go suck air, it's whatever. So. Anyway, let's forget about it and move on. Okay. I know. He's not a congressman, and he's not anything. And he claims to be a veteran. He's not a veteran. He has pictures of himself in military outfits, which aren't even real military outfits. They're fake. He's a total fake. He's a total loser.
Wow.
Okay. I don't even want to talk about it. He's a scumbag. All right, so let's get back into this. Who haven't we heard from? We haven't heard from Steve or Denise. Steve, did you have anything either about what's going on or any? Oh, there's been tons of legal stuff going on, or anything you want to talk about.
I still haven't had time to catch up with the raft of Supreme Court cases, frankly. I watched Trump's. I'm sorry, I just came into the room, so forgive me if this has all been talked about.
Okay.
Trump's press conference just now, if we already talked about this bizarreness of this. God, it was just insane.
No, we have not.
Yeah, so he just did his press conference, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes ago at the NATO meeting. And I mean, man, it was just insane. He headed off a nuclear war between India and Pakistan. They were on the verge of nuclear annihilation before he came in and stepped in. So you'll be relieved to know that I mean, if he doesn't deserve the Nobel Peace Prize for Ukraine, Russia, he certainly deserves it for India, Pakistan, because the nukes were about to fly until he stepped in, thank God. The stuff about the bombing of the nuclear facilities in Iran, I mean, I think it's fairly apparent now. I'm sure more information will come out, but it seems fairly apparent what's going on. But I mean, he just won't back down. Everything's been obliterated. Then Hegseth stepped up and said, anybody who questions any of it is just disrespecting the troops. And he went on and on about the brave pilots and the refillers and the 36 hours. And, if you're questioning anything that the Trump regime says, then, you're a traitor. I mean, it's just the level to which it really has, in my view, become Orwellian. I mean, I remember that very famous, oh God, I blanked on her name, oh God, Alternate Facts, who's Miss Alternate Facts?
Kellyanne Conway.
Kellyanne Conway. The evolution from fake news, they're just lying, don't believe them, to
It's true. It's
just a completely alternative reality that they will not back down from is incredible. I mean, total obliteration. I mean, it seems fairly obvious what happened. They bombed these sites, and the main underground site, I think what the reporting is saying is, yeah, there was a lot of destruction at the surface, and maybe at some level below the surface, but the actual subterranean facility was not seriously damaged. And whatever nuclear material was at, I think primarily the Isfahan site, had been evacuated. But they just won't back down. I mean, they just lie and lie and lie. It's remarkable. And I guess this plays to some base. I don't get it. I will try and catch up on all of these Supreme Court opinions and see if there's anything worth talking about in there.
No, listen, Steve, that would be great if you could do that. But what you're saying is, it's obviously it's so true. But, it seems as though this stuff where he is, this stuff that really bothers him internally, that he really is most afraid of, which has to do with his ego, are the things that he just doubles down on. Like he does like a nuclear lie attack. So him losing the 2020 election was one of those things. He went everybody knows it's a lie. Everybody knows he's lying about this, and he knows that everybody knows that. So the only thing he can do is just do a mega bomb of lies, and that's what he's doing. And he's like, he sits there and gives a 10-minute news conference. After the first 30 seconds, we get it, but he'll do it for a full 10 minutes.
Yeah,
because he wants to change the reality. Everybody's perception of reality.
I do want to add one thing to what you said about all the flattery, which obviously is true. There's a small group of people who add one other thing to that. Sometimes they don't even use the flattery, but whether they do or they don't, and many of them do. And I'm thinking of Netanyahu